I'm David Scandura.
I'm Justice Burkett.
And today we're here to find out, is The Fall the greatest movie ever made?
Flickers. Moving pictures.
I never seen one.
Ah, you're not missing much.
Welcome to the greatest movie ever made, the show where we watch a movie and tell you if it's the greatest movie ever made.
Kaboom!
I was thinking you might go, googly, googly, googly.
Googly, googly, go away.
Googly's also the name of one of the production companies at the beginning of the movie.
I saw that and I was like, oh, that's probably like when the googly, googly, be gone thing came up in the movie. I was like, I wonder if it's called that because they created this production company for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because this has a really interesting story about how it came about and
it
how
sure
it was funded
does.
and everything.
I was looking into that a little bit after watching it. Yeah.
A movie that is so thoroughly entertaining and compelling that while you're watching it, it's the only thing that matters in the world.
That's the smoothest that's gone in a while.
Thanks. I tried. I practiced. I'm David Scandura, joined as always by my co-host and renowned English naturalist in just the cuntiest outfit ever conceived, Justice Burkett.
His fucking Charles Darwin's pink fur coat in this movie. The costumes in this movie in general, of course, one of the main things people talk about when they talk about this movie, the costumes and the cinematography, like, both very striking. Charles Darwin's big furry coat specifically is a galaxy brain costume decision.
I hope that was like auctioned off for like no less than $500,000.
I would wear that coat. It is it's insane to see this like pasty British dweeb just fucking dripped out through this entire movie.
One of the craziest costume decisions of all time.
It's batshit insane that they give Charles Darwin like a Cruella de Vil coat. Like if Cruella de Vil was killing like fucking anime foxes, like the fox that Naruto turns into. Like Cruella de Vil made that shit into a coat. That's what Charles Darwin is wearing in this movie.
Naruto turns into a fox?
Yeah, he's got a nine-tailed fox demon in him.
I literally just learned that this very second.
I
did not know that.
That's kind of his whole thing. He's like he's a lovable dork, precocious child who is being taught to be a ninja. But his deep dark secret is that there is a nine-tailed fox demon living inside of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nerd.
I watched
Weeb?
I watched a lot of Naruto in middle school.
I know that they run very silly.
Yeah.
And I was watching the
Like
Kids and Weapons.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
look at those fucking dorks Naruto running.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Naruto.
We are not.
Or weapons. we're here to talk about The Fall, directed by Tarsem Singh.
Or if he's being credited for this movie, just Tarsem.
Yeah.
What's that called? When people only have one name?
Mononym?
Mononym? Yeah, mononymic.
Yeah. Before we talk about that, how are you doing?
I'm weird. Like I've been good mostly, but there have just been a few things. Like one thing is just like I have a lot of fatigue and lack of motivation. I guess like general malaise going on this week, like even more than usual, and so that's not ideal. But like the main bad thing was last week. David, you're familiar with the fact that the Podmaster and I have a robot vacuum in the household.
Yeah.
You're also aware that we have 2 dogs in the household.
I'm also aware that you have names and lore and backstory for the robot vacuums.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. What you might not know, David, is sometimes having dogs and having a Roomba don't mix very well. When one of your dogs gets diarrhea and shits on the floor, and then the Roomba runs over it. Yes, that's the one. He's pointing at a dog. He guessed correctly. That is the dog that had diarrhea. And the Roomba runs over the diarrhea and smears it all over your fucking house. Which happened not once last week, David, but 2 times. 2 days in a row, I woke up to find diarrhea smeared all over the house. So that was a fucking nightmare. And truly ruined most of last week for me because I had to spend upwards of probably 10 hours of my time cleaning shit off of the floor and the rug and the couch and everywhere else that it had gotten. The Roomba didn't get it on the couch. The dog with diarrhea jumped on the couch and, still had diarrhea on her ass and got it all over the couch cushions. So, that was a horrible experience. Do not recommend.
The joys of letting animals live in our house.
Yeah, also like the joys of, inviting a robot into the home. Because it's like the diarrhea would have been contained to one area had the robot not aided and abetted in the shittening, as it were. So that was bad. The Roomba's broken now. Because when I was
got clogged
when
with
I was
shit,
when I was trying to
it
when
drowned.
I was trying to clean the shit out of it the second time, I accidentally broke it. The first time I cleaned the shit out, put it back together, and it was fine. The second time I took it apart to clean the shit out of it, some shit went wrong. So
you got a warranty for that thing?
yeah, and boy oh boy are we using it.
Just lie through your teeth the whole time.
I'll just be like, I don't know.
It just stopped working.
Something happened. I was using it the regular way. It was not full of diarrhea. Yeah, so that was a nightmare, and I, as a result of that, had a pretty bad time last week. But other than that, I've been pretty good. I do want to shout out the new Die Spitz album, Something to Consume, that just came out. Good album. And it's kind of one of those that kind of like evades genre description, which is always fun. It's like they do a lot of experimenting. They have a lot of like very diverse influences, you can tell. So it's like it's a rock record, but it's like it's got doomy bits and punky bits and shit, and it's really good. So listen to that. David, how are you doing?
I'm sort of weird too.
Yeah.
I was mostly doing good, and I made took the opportunity to get out of the house and go see people and go do things. And then that's sort of been coupled with like some kind of low lows.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like they're related. I don't think it was I went out to see people and overextended myself and I needed to overcompensate by crawling into a hole and feeling like shit.
Right.
I think I just happened to have a few days where I felt like like fucking shit.
Yeah. In close proximity to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it was all right. I saw some people I hadn't seen in a while. I watched some live theater this weekend. So it was good overall.
Yeah.
But the last couple of days have not been thrilling.
Yeah.
We'll say.
Yeah.
As far as stuff to recommend, I watched the Martin Scorsese film Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. And no one told me that it was one of Martin Scorsese's best movies.
I have not seen that one.
It's one of his early ones.
Yeah.
It stars Ellen Burstyn. It's
Yeah.
the only time that he's done a film with a woman as the main character. And I think Martin Scorsese knows what it's like to be a woman in America. Somehow he has this innate knowledge of it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very beautiful and moving and has one of the best kid performances I've ever seen in a movie. Ellen Burstyn, never better. Literally never better. I've never seen her do a better performance.
Which is, I believe you. I've never seen the movie. I believe you. That is a bold thing to say about Ellen Burstyn, who was in The Exorcist. And
I think it's better than The Exorcist.
Yeah. Which, that just makes me want to see it.
Yeah. Chris Christopherson's in it, and he's great.
I love when Chris Christopherson acts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Such a good movie. I was so happy. And I wasn't expecting that much from it.
Yeah.
Marty Scorsese, that boy can direct. He should do that more often.
Yeah.
Maybe he should make some more movies.
He's working on it. I mean, if fucking IMDb is to be believed, he's got like fucking 10 projects in the can, like waiting, just waiting. He's making 5 different movies with Leonardo DiCaprio all at the same time.
He's got a documentary about shipwrecks that's coming.
Yeah. We'll see how many of those actually end up existing.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about The Fall,
Yes.
directed by Tarsem Singh, or as he's known in this film, Tarsem.
Tarsem.
From 2006.
Yes. You did say that your last couple of days have not been particularly thrilling. I thought that was a good choice of words, because if there was a word that I would use to describe this movie, thrilling is not a bad one. It is pretty thrilling. It's not like your classic summer blockbuster thrill ride, but still some thrills to be had here.
It's an adventure film.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy film.
Yeah. It's this movie is like Pan's Labyrinth, but nice.
I was thinking that the whole time I was watching this, and I have seen this before, we'll talk about that, I was like, I bet money that Zack Snyder saw this and was like, I'm going to do that, but with anime girls and ninjas.
Sucker Punch.
And made Sucker Punch, and it was much worse. I don't know, I haven't seen Sucker Punch in a long time. And then I found out
you are right on the fucking money, dog.
And then I found out that he went to art school with Tarsem Singh
of course,
at the same
that
time.
makes so much sense.
And Michael Bay, too. They all went to a specific art and design school together.
It makes so much sense that those guys were all like contemporaries in like the same like class. Yeah, that makes complete sense. That Michael Bay, Zack Snyder, and Tarsem Singh are all sort of cut from the same cloth in terms of like their training.
Yeah.
All guys who are aesthetic forward in their filmmaking.
They're
I
known
would
for
say.
their visuals and their
Yes.
spectacle. Yes. And I think similarly to Zack Snyder and Michael Bay, this is kind of seen as Tarsem's masterpiece.
Yeah.
And the rest of his films, which he has a much smaller filmography than those other directors, the rest of his films are not really critically lauded at all. They have quite a negative reputation.
Yeah.
I think his first film, The Cell, has kind of a mixed reception.
Right.
And then everything else he's done since then, like he did Immortals, which was
yeah.
like in the sea of like 300 ripoffs.
Yeah, there's like the one where Ben Kingsley he takes over Ryan Reynolds' body or some shit.
Something like that. I haven't seen it.
Selfless, I think is what that one's called.
But, you know, Zack Snyder and Michael Bay
Yeah.
have a couple movies that have been really praised, and then the rest of them have been,
Right.
you know,
Right.
shat on by the critics.
Like people talk about Michael Bay and they're like, oh, well, yeah, he made like The Rock and then he made like a bunch of dog shit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Zack Snyder too. What are Zack Snyder's good movies?
I think there's an argument to be made that his Dawn of the Dead remake is his best movie.
I do hear a lot of people saying that one is good, and I have not seen it and I want to.
300, I would say, is fun, but heavily flawed for me personally.
Yeah. I will say I've never liked that movie. Even as a teenager, seeing
I think
300.
it's gotten worse over the years.
Yeah.
Watchmen?
That's right?
You
Yeah,
know,
right?
and like, but definitely I think the ultimate cut of Watchmen is better than the theatrical cut.
Even the theatrical cut, though, I like. I do like that movie.
But that is just him kind of adapting a comic 1-to-1, and then the thing,
Which takes its own kind of skill, I think.
yeah, and then
To meticulously recreate those details.
yeah, and then the way the places where it differs, I think, bring down the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I've heard the Owl movie's pretty good. that's one of the ones I haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen that one either.
But
Anyway.
yeah. So Tarsem Singh actually is primarily a director of commercials and music videos.
Yep. And boy, can you tell watching this movie
Yeah.
that this guy has made his fair share of perfume ads. His fair share of music videos.
So he used his experience shooting commercials as an opportunity to location scout for this movie.
Yes, and sometimes not just scout. There, like I was reading about the production of this movie, and sometimes he would be like on site shooting for a commercial, and then the same crew who was shooting the commercial for him would shoot scenes for this movie.
He shot this movie with his commercial crew.
Yeah.
And self-funded it for $30 million based on his commercial money. It took 4 years to make, and no one wanted it.
Yeah.
No one wanted to distribute it.
Right.
The Weinstein Company were interested, and then Harvey Weinstein walked out of a screening after 15 minutes.
That's because that guy is a fucking degenerate piece of shit with no taste among his other crimes.
Yes, he did not deserve this movie.
No. I'm sorry. Like, Harvey Weinstein walking out of this movie after 15 minutes should be an endorsement to the quality of the movie.
Yeah. Put that on the box.
Right, yes. Harvey Weinstein couldn't stomach more than 15 minutes of this thing.
And
Now on 4K, The Fall, yeah.
yeah, I don't think they put out the 4K yet because
They
it's been out of print and hard to find for a while because there
Yes.
was distribution issues. And then Mubi recently did a 4K restoration.
Yeah, they sure did. How did you watch this movie for the show, David?
I paid $5 American on Amazon Prime to rent it from Mubi, which is a couple dollars more than it normally costs. Money well spent.
I created a free Mubi trial to watch this, and holy fucking shit, that 4K restoration looks incredible. One of the best viewing experiences in terms of like the quality of the digital rip. One of the best viewing experiences I have ever had on streaming.
Oh, yeah.
is watching the 4K of this movie.
Yeah, there was
on Mubi.
Yeah, this is one of the few experiences I can think of where there was like no digital noise, none of the types of problems that you normally get with streaming.
Yeah.
This thing looks pristine on Mubi.
It looks as good as if you were watching it on like a disc, I think. And that leads me to just a very quick sidebar that I plan to do, which is I think Mubi and Tubi are the only streaming platforms we need, David, because they have the two models.
You know we're not getting paid for this, right?
I know this is not a paid advertisement. I'm getting on my soapbox to talk about how much I hate streaming, and like the only streaming services that should exist are ones that are completely free but have ads, or have a paid subscription and no ads. And the perfect two of those are Mubi and Tubi, right? Like every other streaming service should die and be consolidated into like what we really need is just a communist takeover of streaming.
Yeah.
And we need state-run Mubi and state-run Tubi, where it's like either you pay a monthly fee and you have Mubi, or you watch Tubi for free, or you do both. You know.
Every time I log into Tubi, there are so many movies that I want to watch just on the front screen.
Yeah.
And when I do that with any of the other streaming services, I'm like, I don't want to fucking watch White Lotus. I don't
Yeah.
want to watch... this looks too... I'm digging for something to watch.
But you go on to
and then I go
Tubi
to
and it's
Tubi,
like-
it's
right.
like, oh, fuck, they have an American Werewolf in London up for free?
Tubi's got fucking Hunt for Red October for 2 months? Fuck yeah, dude. Like, you know?
And they got a bunch of weird horror movies that I've never seen that I'm interested
baby.
in.
Best place for found footage freaks such as myself is Tubi.
Yeah, that's
you
where I...
really can't do better than Tubi for found footage.
That's where I found like Deadbeat at Dawn and
Yeah.
a lot of the low budget movies that I love.
Yeah.
Man.
This is I'm laying down, I'm putting my flag in the sand here and just saying Mubi and Tubi should be the only victors of the streaming wars. I am praying for everyone else's downfall, because the fact that like fucking Netflix and HBO Max and Hulu have a tier at which you are paying for the service and you still have to have your movie interrupted by ads, everyone involved with making that decision should get the wall.
Yeah, I do think the revolution, the streaming revolution, and I mean actual revolution with guns and torches needs to occur.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that being said, my experience watching this on Mubi was delightful. I greatly enjoyed that experience.
Yeah. So I saw this in college
Yeah.
in a film class. Shout out Dr. Becky Gordon, the GOAT. I was taking 2 of her classes in that same semester.
Yeah.
And I remember showing up to one, like the opening week, or start week or whatever. I showed up to one, and then I showed up to the second one, and she was like, "Oh, hey, it's you again." I'm like, "Yep, I'm here. I'm here twice." And we became really close. And more importantly, she showed me a lot of great fucking movies.
Yeah. That's what you want out of a film professor.
And this came at the end of the semester. I don't even remember if there was a lesson tied to it, or if it was just like it's the end of the semester and I want to show you guys a movie.
Right, it's the end of the semester. Let's watch this fucking movie, guys.
Because it was the most, one of the more recent films that had been released. Because we were going in
class,
chronological order. And I remember this movie more vividly than a lot of the other movies that we talked about in that class.
Yeah, understandably.
This one stood out to me.
Yeah, yes, it'll do that. I would venture to say.
And I had a friend recently tell me to watch it, and I was like, "Oh, I've seen that before, but this is a good reminder to watch it again." So here we are talking about it.
Yeah. The Fall. From 2006. There's multiple movies called The Fall.
Yeah,
This is the one from 2006.
not a great title that makes sense.
I like the title because there are multiple falls that define this movie.
Sure.
The inciting incident is a fall. Then there's sort of a climactic fall in the movie. There's falls.
Maybe call it Falls instead of The Fall.
I like the fall. I don't know. I like the fall. I like the fall. I like that it's called that.
Yeah,
What else would you call it?
it makes it really hard to Google. You have to
That's
be very
true.
specific.
The Fall 2006, directed by Tarsem Singh.
Yeah, so you don't get the
Yeah.
one that's like two white girls on a tower or something.
or the TV show or whatever else there is.
Yeah.
The
post-punk band.
Yeah. The Fall TV show isn't the one where Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad is a cult leader, right?
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, that's a TV show. Yeah. Aaron Paul is like a cult leader in something. I thought that might have been the TV show The Fall, but I guess it's a different TV show.
I'll have to look that up later. That sounds cool.
Yeah. I remember hearing he was good in it, but I never watched it. Yes. The Fall from 2006. So did you was that all the background on this movie that you wanted to dive into? Should we start talking about the thing?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
There's more stuff that I could allude to. Like this is this is inspired by his childhood.
Oh yeah.
And a teacher that he had who would tell stories and make up stories to her kids and have cliffhangers, and to the kids, they felt real and vivid and planned, but she was just like improvising them.
Right. Yeah.
And changing the story to match their reaction.
Yeah.
And it's also inspired by him seeing movies in a theater that were not subtitled in his native language, and then recounting them to his friends just based on the visuals.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing where Alexandria has a cigar box full of little like trinkets and doodads and stuff is also from Tarsem's actual life. I watched an interview with Lee Pace where he talked about this, and it's also really funny because I watched a few interviews with people who worked on this movie after watching it, because I was very interested in some of the background on this movie after seeing it. And it's funny because every single person who worked on this movie has pretty much the same thing to say about Tarsem, which is he's a genius and also he's fucking insane. They're all like, yeah, he's crazy.
Did you watch any interviews with him?
Yes.
Okay.
The guy's intense.
Yeah, I can tell.
He's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he pitched this movie to distributors with the cigar box. That was
Yes.
and I think that's how he pitched it to Lee Pace
It
too.
is.
Was like
Yeah.
talking about these sort of vague story details that eventually came together as they were shooting. Over the course of 4 years, they shot the hospital stuff in sequence with the young actress Catinca Untaru, who was 5 years old at the time of filming. This was her first film. She was plucked out of obscurity, basically, for this.
Yeah,
and
Tarsem just found a Romanian child.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a thing that he had been doing with this movie, because the script was done for a little bit, but filming hadn't really started because he was looking for the right kid.
Mm-hmm.
And he would travel around so much.
I think he already had Lee Pace signed up. He was just waiting to find the kid.
Yeah, he was traveling around doing his commercial work and music video work. And that was taking him to all of these locations, right? And while he was there, a thing that he was always kind of constantly doing was keeping his eye out for the right child actor. And yeah, this girl from Romania, he was just there she is. We can finally start shooting this movie.
Yeah, and this is the only thing she's done other than a couple of short films after this.
Yeah.
But she guided a lot of the filming because they had to shoot in sequence, or they were shooting in sequence because they wanted the relationship between her and Lee Pace to feel real and genuine. They wanted her performance to be genuine. And that resulted in a lot of improvisation and a lot of this kid just saying things and Lee Pace reacting to them, and her learning English in the process.
Yeah. That is one of the best things about this movie.
I watched this twice.
Yeah.
I watched this twice because watching it last night, I was just not in the right headspace to be watching this movie for whatever reason. I think it was a little bit late. I was a little bit too, electrified from working that day and stressed out or whatever. And sitting down to watch this, it didn't hit me the way it should have. And I knew that like about half an hour in. I was like, I'm not watching this the way I should be, but I'm going to keep watching it anyway.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I was like, would this movie be better if you had a young actress who was a little bit older and was doing more of her performance? And the conclusion I have come to is no, it would be demonstrably worse.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I think that would... I think that would kind of tank this movie a little bit. Like... like I said before, this movie is kind of nice Pan's Labyrinth. And in Pan's Labyrinth, you do have an older child who is giving more of a performance, right? And it's less, like, kind of candid, right? And that works for that movie because it has a darker tone. It has, like, some more dense thematic material. This movie, you just have to feel it more than you have to think about it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Right?
That's what I was trying to remind myself last night.
Yeah. And like with Pan's Labyrinth, I think that's a movie that benefits from you thinking about it a whole lot, right? And it's like, but this movie, it's like, no, like it's not a turn your brain off movie necessarily, but it is a thing where it's like, with this movie, I think you are doing yourself a disservice if you're watching it and being like, let me try and interpret this in the moment. Like, let me think about what this means. It's like, what it means is how you respond to it emotionally. This thing is like pure emotion, you know? It's not too dissimilar. I've seen a lot of people comparing this movie to Jodorowsky, and I've never seen a Jodorowsky film, so I can't opine on that. But the other one that I've seen people mention a lot is Lynch in relation to this movie. And I think similar to Lynch, trying to untangle the logic or even like the thematic levels that the movie is operating on is sort of a fool's errand with this movie, because it's like, it's about what it makes you feel.
Yeah.
You know, it's about the experience of watching it, you know? And I feel like for that to work, a child performance that is this genuine and raw and unfiltered and real is so necessary, because she puts you as a viewer in the mindset of a child, you know? And it's like it becomes sort of like an experience where you're participating in the play of this movie because of her performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is the experience of a kid coming up to you and trying to tell you something, but they can't fully put a sentence together.
Yes. Even more so because English is not her first language.
Right.
Yeah.
And you having to find the truth in
Yeah.
there and find the essence of what they're trying to say, and doing that through the guise of storytelling makes this performance essential. Makes the way that the movie chooses to portray this child is essential. You're there with Lee Pace, like trying to figure out what the fuck this kid is trying to say.
There are so many moments in this movie that are like so gorgeous. Moments that I loved in this movie. That is just Lee Pace, the actor, asking his scene partner questions so that he can understand what she's thinking, right? Like there are so many scenes with him and this girl. And she brings him the communion wafer.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Are you trying to save my soul?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, with the bread you gave me, the little, it saves your soul. And she's like, I don't understand what you're saying. And like he's trying to like say it in a way that she'll get it, you know? And that happens again towards the end a few times too. Like it happens throughout, but like every time it was happening, I was just like, this feels so special and singular, because it's like, this is a moment where the character is doing this, but you can also tell the actor is doing this.
Yeah, and just as many times the inverse happens, where she's trying to make him understand.
Yes. One of my favorite things is her snowflake note that she wrote, and he keeps saying it's like gibberish, like I can't read this. And every time he brings it up, she's like, it's not gibberish, you just don't know how to read it. And we never really get closure on that, which I like and is fine, you know? But it's like, it is a moment where it's like, yeah, like the communication gap, it goes both ways. Like every once in a while she's like, no, you're not understanding me. Like
and those moments where they reach a shared understanding lead to some of that beauty that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Throughout this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love their relationship so much.
I'm glad we got her performance out of the way, because I was looking on Letterboxd. I went to the half-star reviews just to see what people had to say.
Yeah.
A lot of them were like, I hated the kid. And I think if you hate this kid performance, you should walk into traffic.
I agree. The Greatest Movie Ever Made podcast has been on record consistently pretty critical of the performances of a lot of child actors.
We are anti-kid.
Yes, we don't.
In movie.
We don't enjoy children.
If there's children in a horror movie, they better be dying.
Yes, we don't enjoy children as just a general rule. That being said, like every once in a while, a kid is so undeniable that even David and I have to be like, good kid, you know? Alexandria in this movie is probably the most on this podcast that I have ever liked a kid. This is one of the best kids of all time in a movie.
She's a contender for Newt, and I'm a noted Newt defender.
Yes.
Newt from Aliens.
I like Newt too, to be clear. The Newt detractor on the podcast is High Priestess Pod. She doesn't like Newt.
Well, she doesn't have a microphone right now.
That's true. I don't know if she would like Alexandria or not. She didn't watch this movie with me.
was thinking she should watch this.
I think she should watch this movie.
Didn't know she had
She's
watched
not
it
gonna
with
like
you.
it as much as I did, but she doesn't like any movie as much as I do.
Right.
She didn't watch this with me. It would be very interesting to see how she felt about Alexandria. She likes Pan's Labyrinth, you know, so it's not like every movie with a kid she hates, you know. She likes some kids, just not Newt. But yeah, I think their relationship is so vital to this movie, because it's like, unlike The Princess Bride, or a very comparable movie to this one that I don't know if you've ever seen or not, Secondhand Lions. Have you ever seen Secondhand Lions?
I think I have, but I don't remember anything about it.
Very similar in structure to this movie, way worse. Just a way less good movie. But like those movies, I would say, have either the main plot is the story that an adult is telling a child, right? Or it's about 50-50. This movie, I would say, is different than The Princess Bride or Secondhand Lions, because it's like the main story here is Alexandria and Roy. And we check in with the imagined fantasy world in spots, but you don't get enough of the fantasy world that it's like a satisfying standalone narrative, really.
Yeah, if you cut out the Alexandria Roy stuff and just had like a 50-minute movie of just the fantasy stuff, it wouldn't be satisfying.
It would be pretty incoherent. Like they kind of like leave plot threads hanging, and you know, characters sort of change at the drop of a hat in terms of like how they behave, and you know. And
as much as I think I think we talked about this on Princess Bride, the framing device with the grandpa and the kid, as much as I feel like that's pretty essential, in reality, you could lose that stuff and still maintain the integrity of the film, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think that can happen here.
Yeah. And that's why I think a better point of comparison for this movie, as I've been saying, is Pan's Labyrinth. Because in Pan's Labyrinth, it's like what's happening in the real world is the A plot of that movie. And the fantasy world serves to exaggerate the emotions of the real world stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when the kid is scared in Pan's Labyrinth, you feel that she is scared through her reactions to the pale man, right? But it's like the thing she's scared of is just a guy, you know? And similarly in this movie, it's like what Lee Pace is dealing with, his suicidality, you know, is heightened.
Is that a word?
Suicidality?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just made it one. If
It
it's
sounds
not.
cool. Suicidality, dude.
Just a fucking kid doing the hang loose sign on a skateboard. Suicidality would be a great punk band name
That's
if it's not already.
Yeah.
I know Suicide is a punk band.
There's probably 5 suicidalities
Probably.
on Metal Archives that
Yeah.
are like 12-year-old kids.
Yeah. Or, you know, like Nazis from Norway.
Hello, we are suicidality.
This song is called Chainsaw Cunt.
We are not political. Black metal is not political. But here's a song about why we think the Jews are ruining the world.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, suicidality. You gotta Google suicidality sketch. Suicidality.
Don't look up what members of Suicidality were doing in 1992.
Suicidality NSBM Reddit.
Several church burnings, a couple stabbings.
Yeah. Don't look at the lead singer's Twitter profile. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, yeah, but like I think that the fantasy elements here, much like Pan's Labyrinth, serve to elevate and exaggerate the emotions of the main story that's happening, more than to be like a standalone narrative, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The opening credit sequence in this movie rules, by the way. The black and white slow-mo, very elegantly composed shots of the fallout from this initial stunt accident that is kind of the inciting incident for the movie. It did immediately have me feeling perfume commercial for sure, but also it's fucking gorgeous. It's like really Tarsem coming out dick swinging in this movie, being like, get ready for fucking 2 hours of the most gorgeous shit you've ever seen. You get it right away with like the head coming out of the water and the slow-mo like steam coming out of the train and all that shit. It's so good.
Yeah, I like it too. I like the way that it's composed, and like there's a lot of tight close-ups, and we don't really get a sense of what's going on until the scene is at its end. Because
and
we
they're
just
crane
get these,
lifting
like,
a dead horse out of a river.
lifting this horse out of the river that's just slumped in this fucking sling or whatever.
Yeah, it's 1920s Hollywood, baby. We are killing horses.
But yeah, it's a lot of like tight close-ups on different characters, and yeah, slow motion, and we get shots of the river. There's like a feather floating down the river.
Yeah.
Very much every frame of painting.
Yeah, you get like Roy's ex-girlfriend sobbing in the car with the locket in this opening, so we're
We get a close-up on the locket.
Yeah, we're seeding all that stuff really early. Yeah.
He does a really good job at planting those symbols and motifs and recurring images without drawing attention to them.
Yes.
It's in a way that's not like, this is going to be important, you're going to remember it later, and we're going to make sure that you remember it when it comes up later.
No, he does it just enough that when you notice it later, you feel smart and you feel like it was like your idea. You know, you're like, oh, I noticed that thing earlier and now I'm noticing it again because I'm so smart.
I do think there's one exception to this, which is some of the horse stuff, because one of the early shots in the hospital in Los Angeles, as Alexandria is like wandering around doing her daily routine and saying hi to people, you have a rocking horse and then a horse on the wall that's kind of in like a toy doll horse or whatever that's on the wall in a sling, like the horse that's being lifted out of the river.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so horses are going to be a symbol in this movie. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
It's not inelegant.
Yeah.
It's just one of the moments where it's like, oh, okay, I got that.
Right. Not particularly subtle, but I would say subtlety, not necessarily an area that this movie is operating in.
Yeah.
This
Doesn't even try to be subtle.
This is a refreshingly unsubtle movie. It is audacious as fuck. And I appreciate that about it. So Lee Pace plays Roy Walker. He's a stuntman in like 1920s silent films, right? So we're like really like dawn of cinema days, right? Right now in this movie,
I think it's even earlier. I think it's like 1915.
Yeah. So it's like really movies are just getting started.
Yeah, because Alexandria said she's never even seen a movie. Like she doesn't know what a movie is.
I love that when she says that, he's like, "You're not missing much," because it's like that's how it was at the time. Like movies were the scrappy new unproven art form, and it's like like serious actors were doing stage plays, and it's like if you were a good actor who wanted to make a living, movies were beneath you know, like a bunch of misfits and vagabonds and people with no plans for their future were the ones who were going to do movies.
Yeah, the history of movies at this point was a lot of like camera tests and a train coming at the screen for 5 seconds.
Yeah. And so like movies were kind of punk at the time, which I think is how you get Roy Walker as like the protagonist of this movie. Like this is the kind of guy who was making movies in the early days. He like doesn't have a lot of plans. He's kind of a loser. You know, he's cool, but he is young and impulsive and a little stupid, you know? And it's like, yeah, like those are the guys who like built the industry initially until like all the money started coming in and it became industrialized, right? But it's like it was a little DIY and a little punk back then. And I think like Roy Walker kind of embodies that in a way that I really like in this movie. And I also like that he's a stuntman, because that also feels like it fits with his character, being a little bit impulsive, being a little bit like like not really caring about his own well-being, being really like emotionally driven and like not really thinking about his decisions. You know, because it's like like he's the guy who's like, I'm gonna fucking jump off a bridge onto a horse.
Yeah.
Which is what he was doing when he had the titular fall, one of the titular falls, which has left him maybe a paraplegic. I like that we don't get into it too much, but like he can't feel his legs don't work.
Yeah, it's unclear if he's going to be experiencing this forever or if it's only temporary.
Yeah.
But he's not doing well all the same.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help that his girlfriend left him for the guy that he's a stunt double for, which must be so embarrassing if you're a stuntman. Your girlfriend leaves you for the guy that you're doing the stunts for. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm the ugly guy who has to like jump off a bridge because pretty boy over there is like, you know, he looks too nice.
Yeah.
to get hurt.
Yeah, but if you're already in a bad mood and then you hurt yourself,
you're
definitely going to be reaching for the bottle of morphine pills.
Yeah.
I was a couple weeks ago when I was already in a bad mood and then I hurt my foot. I was like, just shoot me now. Just put me down like a wounded horse.
Yeah, like a horse that broke its leg. Yeah. There's just one between the eyes. So he's not doing great. We also meet Alexandria at the beginning. So like the setting of the real world stuff is in this hospital in Los Angeles. And Alexandria has hurt herself falling out of an orange tree. She works at an orange orchard because it's 1915 or whatever, baby. Child labor laws don't exist. A kid can just have a job. And so she's a first generation immigrant. Her and her family have like moved from presumably Romania, because that's where the actress is actually from.
Yeah, I think she's supposed to be Romanian in the film too.
And she fell out of an orange tree picking oranges for her child job that she has. And has broken like her collarbone. Yeah. So she has the cast. I love that her cast has her arm at like a fully right angle, like a 90-degree angle the entire movie.
It's very funny to watch this kid run around with her arm up, and she always has her cigar
box like
things
in the arm that's elevated. Yeah. It's really cute. But she's like writing like a secret note to her favorite like nurse at the hospital, who's like Sister Evelyn, and the note ends up in Roy's room. So she like goes to like get the note. I like that she just walks into his room and snatches the note out of his hand, being like, "That's not for you, motherfucker," and like goes to walk out without a word. And he's the one who's like, "Hey." Like, this kid just came in and grabbed this paper out of my hand. Anyway, so they get to talking.
What spurs on their interaction is he calls out to her and says, "Do you know you're named after Alexander the Great?"
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And so he tells her his story of Alexander the Great.
Right. And this is where we start seeing the imagination world, right? Basically, I think anytime we're seeing the fantasy stuff in this movie, pretty explicitly in the movie, what we are seeing is Alexandria's imagination.
Yeah.
You know? And it's specifically hers, not his, because of the discrepancies between what he's saying and what she sees. Like when he's describing the Indian later in the movie, he is using words like wigwam and stuff that refer to Native American culture, but she is picturing a South Asian Indian, right? Because she works at the orange orchard with a guy from India, right? And so it's clearly her perspective of the story that they're telling, not his.
Yeah, and I think it's also shaped by her perspective as a girl from Romania.
Yes,
specifically too. Yeah. There's a point where they montage when they get into the main story proper. There's a point where they montage through the heroes going to all these different locations, and it's all like the pyramids of Giza, the Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower, and it's like these iconic landmarks that she would think of, that she would know about through a popular culture or through the news or however she gets it in Romania, but to her, that is the rest of the world.
Right. It's like China is just like the Great Wall. And
Yeah.
So I like him telling the story about Alexander the Great. You seeing the sort of world of her imagination for the first time and getting the first like really grandiose location shot of this huge sand dune with these guys on the desert floor in these crazy Greek costumes, like the Greek armor that's like so stylized and over the top. There's the great shot of like the messenger on the horse riding, and he has like the mohawk helmet that the Greeks have, but it like trails all the way down his back. It's so extravagant and so awesome.
Yeah, and that shot where the figures are so small, they're so tiny, and they're at the very bottom of the frame, and the entire frame is taken up by the sand dune with a small sliver of the sky at the top.
Yeah.
The first of countless amazing on-location shots in this film.
Yeah, just blanket thing for this movie. And, like, if you know anything about the fall 2006, like, this is probably what you know about it anyway. But, like, truly some of the most gorgeous images I've ever seen in any movie.
We're going to say this, like, 50 more times.
Yeah, it feels pretty uncontroversial to be like, this is one of the most just purely visually stunning movies ever made.
Yeah, this was shot in 24 countries, which was part of why it was hard to sell.
Yeah.
Because I think he originally was like 9 countries, and then that didn't go over well. But as they continued to work on it, they shot at more and more locations that, like, relatively well-known historical landmarks.
Yeah, like the Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
Like the actual literal Taj Mahal set piece in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the part where they're all walking on the Great Wall for one shot.
And he claims that this movie was made without any CGI visual effects.
I more or less believe that, except for the shot where towards the end where is his name Otto? Where he gets shot with all those arrows and then he falls backwards onto all the arrows and they like hold him up. That shit looks CG as fuck to me.
There's a couple shots that are clear that I think are pretty clearly CG, but I think a lot of the location stuff is real.
Yeah.
The one that I do wonder about is the giant curtain in the middle of the desert that's covered in blood.
Even if that is digitally enhanced in some way. I can't tell.
Yeah.
And it looks fucking magnificent. One of the best visuals in this entire movie. Yeah. So like you get all of that stuff right away. Like the movie lets you know what you're in for as soon as we do the Alexander the Great story thing.
Yeah.
And the story's lame. Like Roy's basically like, oh yeah, like this the guy rides up to Alexander, this messenger, and is like, oh, this is all the water that we have left. We've been fighting wars over water, and like this is it. And then Alexander the Great like dumps out the water that's left in the helmet. And I love Alexandria immediately being like, why? And he's like, well, I don't know. He's like, to prove a point. Like, it wasn't enough water for like him and all his men. So, you know, he was like making a statement. And she's like, that's stupid. And this is where it became very clear to me. Like, this moment is where I was like, oh, the movie is telling me what it's going to be about in this exchange, which is this movie is about the relationship between the author and the audience in art. That's what this movie's about, I think, right? I think this movie is about how art is communication, and it is a collaborative process between the person or people who create the art and the people who enjoy it, who view it or whatever, right? And I think that's like pretty... I don't think that's like a hot take about this movie. I think it wears that on its sleeve pretty proudly that that's what it's about.
Yeah. I don't think you're doing a Room 37
No, right.
shining conspiracy theory with that. Yeah, I think it's pretty clearly about that. It's pretty clearly about the nature of storytelling, and how it informs us as children, the importance of that, and the importance of myth. And yeah, storytelling is a collaborative process, because it's clear here that Alexandria is starting to, she's misremembering or misinterpreting the things that he says, and that visually changes what's happening in the fantasy sequences.
Yes.
She imagines Alexander on a horse riding through these ruins, and Lee Pace says, like, no, he wasn't on a horse. He was walking through the desert.
Right, he didn't have a horse.
And then seamlessly in one shot, it changes from the ruins location to the desert.
Right.
So she's going to be adding and changing things to the story as it goes along.
Yes.
And there's also the very fun way that we transition out of these fantasy sequences is something interrupts her. Someone, like, he interrupts her, or she asks a question, and then the character on screen asks that same question.
Yes.
And I think that's where she's like, why did he do that? And it's one of the guards.
Right. Yeah,
after he dumps the water out.
Yeah. Yeah. I like all that stuff too. And like, yeah, it just hammers home that this is about how, art doesn't only belong to the artist. Like, once it is out in the world, it is open to interpretation, and like other people can kind of bring themselves to it, and that makes it richer. So she initially is kind of like, okay, like, you're funny, you're telling me this story, whatever. And then they bond a little bit more here. I think she shows him the cigar box stuff, and shows him, and he's like, oh, did you steal this? And she's like, no, these are like things that I've collected, basically.
Yeah.
And she has a picture of her home where she used to live, presumably back in Romania. And then, like, at the end of their little interaction, he's like, hey, come back here tomorrow and I'll tell you another story. I'll tell you an epic, right?
Yeah, an epic tale of revenge and romance and adventure.
Yeah. And so she's going to come back and visit him again for another story, right? And we see a little bit, like, of the hospital stuff early in the movie too. So we get a few, like, supporting characters showing up. Like, there's the nurse, Sister Evelyn, who is very, like, a thing I like a lot about this movie, with the exception of the one fucking asshole, everybody is so nice to this kid. And I thought that was so nice and delightful. Like I said, that's one of the things that made this movie to me feel kind of like nice Pan's Labyrinth, because in Pan's Labyrinth everybody's horrible to the kid except for like the two nice people in the movie, and this is like the inverse of that. It's like, no, like there's one guy who sucks and everybody else is like, oh sweetie, can I help you with anything? Like let me talk to you and make sure you're okay, let me reassure you, let me make sure you're safe. Like everyone's looking out for this kid's well-being. And I was like, that is such a nice, it's just such a nice, warm, comforting world to live in, even though it's a hospital.
I think it's nice without being sentimental or cheesy.
I agree.
I would have to like rewatch Pan's Labyrinth, but maybe my thing with Pan's Labyrinth is, obviously it's a gorgeous film.
Yeah. I do love that movie, by the way. I think that's a 5 out of 5 masterpiece for me. But so I'm not pushing one down to elevate the other or anything.
Yeah. I think the reality and the fantasy sequences of that movie are a little bit closer together because of visually and tonally are a little bit closer together because of Guillermo del Toro's visual style.
Right.
It looks, it looks like a Guillermo. God, I don't know why I'm having trouble saying his name.
Guillermo.
It looks like his version of history.
Yeah.
And that has a degree of stylization to it.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Aesthetics choices to it.
Yep.
I don't think that's the case for this movie.
Right. The fantasy and the reality feel very like from different worlds. Yeah.
The reality sequences are very grounded and very controlled in their perspective. He very rarely shoots something that isn't from Alexandria's point of view.
Yeah.
It's like the camera's almost always at her level.
Yeah.
Almost always looking up at someone, even if it's not like exactly her point of view. As a viewer, you sort of feel like you are a kid wandering through this hospital.
Yeah.
And the way that these sequences are structured and edited together, there's a lot of like scenes and moments that we get, but they're kind of breezed through pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of moments where the movie slows down and focuses on something at the hospital.
Yeah.
And it makes the reality sequences feel kind of dreamlike and hazy in comparison to the fantasy sequences, which are all very vivid and very clear because the fantasy is more real to the character than the real world.
Right. Or at least more. It's the world she wants to spend time in more.
Yeah.
Right. Even if it's not necessarily like more real, it's the one that she is like eager to return to.
Yeah.
So when you're there, you feel like you can kind of sit in it and spend time in it more because that's what she wants to do, right? She wants to kind of she wants the fantasy to be drawn out,
Yeah, and another thing that I can compare this to is Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, totally.
Where whenever Calvin's having some sort of fantasy, everything is gorgeously detailed.
Right, Bill Watterson
is drawing dinosaurs that look like they could be in a scientific textbook.
He pulls out his full set of pencils that have like all different like diameters and shit.
Yeah.
he's like, all right, time to show people what an artist I am.
And then anytime it's in the real world and Calvin's
cartoon,
out of the fantasy, like things are very sparsely sketched and minimalist.
Right.
We don't get a sense of like backgrounds, whereas
Right.
like when
Much
we're doing
flatter.
the fantasy stuff, everything's very, very vivid.
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes, the single greatest creative work ever created by mankind.
I am not going to argue with you that Calvin and Hobbes is in the pantheon of great Western art because I agree. Yeah. So some of the things that we see at the hospital, she does see the scary guy going into the crematory. He's wearing, or no, it's the X-ray room.
He's an X-ray.
It's the X-ray room. Yeah. Sorry, I don't
He's
know
an
why I
X-ray
thought it
tech,
was
but he
green.
looks like a medieval executioner.
Yeah. It's right because it's it's like 1920 and X-rays can give you cancer if you get them once. But yeah, right. He's an X-ray tech, and he's wearing like this big, scary, like lead apron with the like hood and the goggles and everything. So we see that image kind of scare her, we might as well just call it out now. All of the goons who work for the bad guy in the fantasy world look like that. They have like the evil soldier outfit in her imagined world is like black versions of the X-ray tech outfit, which I really love.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great detail.
Yeah, and because this is a movie from a child's perspective, like, it's scary. It's treated as scary.
Yeah.
And, like, when they show up, you have that same reaction that she does.
You know, he did kind of, the X-ray tech costume kind of did remind me of the killer from In a Violent Nature. It kind of just has a similar, like, the hood thing specifically.
Man.
Yeah.
So
Kind of reminded me of Johnny.
Instead of, like, an
Right? His
old...
name's Johnny?
Johnny, yeah. Instead of an old fireman outfit for
It's
a
an old
slasher...
X-ray tech.
Old X-ray tech.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be rad as
I feel
fuck.
like In a Violent Nature 2, that X-ray tech outfit could be the thing, you know?
One of the kills is giving someone cancer by giving them an X-ray.
Call up Tarsem and be like, hey, you still got that X-ray tech costume hanging around anywhere? You know where that ended up?
But there's, to your point, there are multiple characters in this movie, both main and secondary, and that show up in her fantasy.
Right. Like there's the guy who delivers the ice.
Yeah.
Who is very nice to her, just very kind to her. And that's the same actor who plays Otto in the fantasy world.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the orderlies plays Charles Darwin. I don't even know that he's revealed until the end of the movie.
No, he's just, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this guy was around the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. The orange picker, her boss in the orange groves.
Or coworker. I'm not really sure what the situation is.
Yeah, child labor and all that.
Yeah,
it's a weird
just,
situation.
Just a guy from India who happens to work alongside this 5-year-old child in the orange grove.
Yes, he's the Indian in her fantasies.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, like we see some of this stuff, and then yeah, she goes back for more story time with Roy, and he starts telling her the story, and man, like this first bit of the story from him is where this movie I think really hooked me. Like I was enjoying all the stuff before this, but when we get into like Lipe starts telling this story and it's like, oh, there's 5 heroes on an island, and we start doing the little background thing with each of them. I'm like, oh, this is really good shit. Like this is gonna be, I'm in for a treat here, because like we start with Otto and it's like, oh, he was a slave and then his brother died from the hard labor of slavery, and so he like burned down the fields and like pledged vengeance against Count Odious, right? And then we go to the next guy, who I think is the second one, the Indian. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We go to the Indian next, and it's like, oh yeah, his wife is like the most beautiful woman in the whole country or whatever, and Count Odious like posed as a leper to like see her face and then like stole her from him, but she like wouldn't show her face to him, so he banished her to the labyrinth of despair.
And she killed herself.
And she jumped out. Hey, she had a fall. The fall.
That was another fall. Again, it should be falls.
Yeah.
The falls. Multiple
and so
falls.
He pledges revenge against Count Odious, and I think it was when the second time, because we've seen Otto, his brother dies, and he yells at the sky and is like, "No!" And then Lee Pace's voiceover and is like, he vowed that he would be the one to kill Count Odious, and then we hit the same beat with the Indian, and I was like, oh, this is awesome and also hilarious. Like I was like really having a great time right around here, and then it just kind of continued.
Well, I really love the labyrinth. I think the labyrinth stuff locked me in.
It's so the visuals are fucking incredible,
because it's a bunch of shots of this woman running through this real location in, I believe it's in India. Tons of this movie. There's so much of this movie was shot in India.
Yes.
There's just like, so many locations that they use. I think this is a real location in India. And then the visual of her wandering up this giant real staircase to nowhere,
and then
jumping off.
To just kind of plant an image in your head, if you haven't seen this movie, if you know like the artwork of like MC Escher, apparently someone just built that for real. Like she's wandering around an MC Escher painting. It's crazy. Yeah. And then, like her falling from the tower is like such a striking image. It's so good.
Yeah, yeah. We have Luigi, who's the explosives expert on the team.
Yeah.
And he's played by Roy's coworker.
Yeah, the same guy who has like the false leg.
With the false
leg.
The
other stuntman. Yeah. And boy, oh boy, do I love this guy. I love all of their costumes are fucking incredible. Luigi's, other than Darwin's, might be my favorite. I love... He's got this big yellow coat with these like red slashes, and then he's got like this crazy like red Italian hat. He's got the big mustache. He's always got a cigar. Yeah, his big yellow coat is so fucking dope. It rules. I also love that his issue with Count Odious, like, the Indian and Otto, like, they both like lost someone, like someone close to them died because of Count Odious. With Luigi, his backstory is his explosives were too powerful, so Count Odious had him banished. And then when he went back to Italy, nobody would talk to him because he was like a pariah for building explosives that were too powerful. And his priest wouldn't hear his confession, so he was like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
and then Charles Darwin,
yes,
has a pet, not a pet monkey. The
colleague.
monkey is his colleague.
They specifically use the word colleague.
They've been doing research together.
They say his ingenious and shy colleague. His name's Wallace the monkey. Yeah.
Yes,
which is apparently a reference to a botanist whose last name was Wallace, who was a contemporary of Darwin's and like collaborated with him on some of his theory of evolution and stuff.
Yeah. And Count Odious sent him a dead butterfly species.
Yes, he'd been looking for Americanus exoticus or whatever.
And this is one of the details that Alexandria adds, where she wants him to add that he's looking for a butterfly, and he's like, oh yes, okay, Americana exotica or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is one of those great moments early on where we see how she's influencing the story.
Right, how she's building the world with him as the audience. Yeah.
And then the masked bandit is played by her father, and we didn't mention this in the scene where she shows him her cigar box, but she mentions that her father died because, as she says, angry people came to her house and burned it down and
stole their horse. Yep.
So the actor in the photo who plays her father plays the masked bandit.
Yes. And yeah, all of this early stuff, like all the character introduction stuff, I was like, fuck yeah, this movie really has me. There's the gorgeous little sequence where they're trying to figure out how to get off the island. They've been banished to this like little reef or whatever. And they're trying to figure out how to get off the island. It seems like it's really only an issue for the bandit because he can't swim, because it seems to be swimming distance from shore for everyone else. But he can't swim, so they have to figure out a way to get this one guy off the island. And it turns out that way is riding on the back of an elephant. Because Darwin is talking to his monkey, and the monkey is like, hey, did you know elephants can swim? The monkey does not have a human voice, nor is it subtitled. It just makes monkey noises at Darwin, and he knows what it's saying.
Yeah.
Which is the best possible option. Also, it's fucking hilarious how Charles Darwin is part of the party. I love that they were like, because the guy Otto, there was a real guy with the same name.
Yes, he was
Otto Benga,
inspired by a real slave who led a revolt.
Yes, but he is less textually the real guy than Darwin is. It's because Otto is like, his backstory is kind of contrived for the movie. It's like, no, when they get to Darwin, he's just like, well, yeah, Darwin, British naturalist, theory of evolution, all the stuff you know him for, right? And it's like, it's just so funny to me. It was giving me like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen vibes a little bit, where it's like, here's a bunch of made up people and then a guy who just actually existed.
That was a contender for the Shummer of Sean that we didn't end up going with, and I would still like to cover that on the podcast.
Yeah.
This movie sort of reminds me of a D&D sessions too, where
where it's like, oh yeah, my guy is like a fucking like a sorcerer who comes out of a tree that lights on fire, and it's like, oh cool, my guy's literally Darwin.
Yeah, like the game I'm playing right now is like my DM made up backstories for all these NPCs and all these great NPCs, and one of them he's just like, yeah, he's just Paulie from The Sopranos. Or yeah, Jimmy Buffett canonically exists in this universe. He was a great bard who was passed on to Margaritaville in the sky.
Yeah. Not to go on a D&D sidebar, but my little brother was telling me about a game of D&D. I don't even know if it's from like an actual play podcast or what. I don't know how he became aware of this game. But it was a game where I guess someone created a character. It was like a homebrew character where they were playing as an actual bear, like just an animal. They were a bear. But like they stacked their like charisma stat so much that their move was basically convincing people that they weren't a bear. Right? It was a bear that was so charismatic that it could just convince people to be like, oh yeah, that's a guy. And I guess they like failed to roll like one time and some random guard was like, that's a fucking bear. Is anybody else seeing this guy? Because everyone's acting like this is a knight in armor. That is a literal bear.
But yeah, it's like the process of storytelling in this movie is retconning things and changing things and improvising and coming up with ideas together.
I will say,
which totally happens during D&D.
When they killed Darwin in this movie, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but when they killed Darwin, I was like, cool, so Darwin doesn't have plot armor, even though canonically he did live to be significantly older than he is right now. He like had a bunch of kids, he got married, but no, we're just killing Darwin and his monkey.
Yeah. At the end of the movie, when Roy turns into George R.R. Martin and ruin this kid's fucking life by killing all of her favorite characters.
Yeah, man, yeah, it's rough. So they get off the island. The bandit rides an elephant.
The underwater shot.
Oh yeah,
of an elephant in water.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
They actually just
did that.
There was just an actual swimming elephant. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It's wild and gorgeous, and like the music here is so like peaceful. Sort of reminded me of the moments in like Avatar: The Way of Water where we're just kind of swimming.
Yeah, when it's just like a sea ballet and we have very nice music and just showing people swimming around.
Very much like that.
Yeah.
This portion of this movie. But yeah, so they get to the shore. Then the thing happens that I just alluded to where there is the creepiest fucking evil tree of all time with a guy in it that explodes. Like the guy comes out of the tree, that like the tree lights on fire and a guy comes out. And they're like, okay, so what's your deal? And he doesn't know how to speak their language.
But Darwin can interpret him. And Darwin's like, yeah, this place used to be green and lush, and then Odious burned everything down.
Yes.
And then the mystic ate all the birds, and he's keeping the birds in his stomach.
Yes.
Which will be coming back when he's killed at the end of the movie.
Yes. Yeah, very Dune. That this place used to be green and lush and a tyrannical dictator, strip-minded and made it an uninhabitable desert.
Also, don't worry. This is not a white actor in blackface. He is just covered in mud.
Yes.
The whole movie.
Yes.
He's just a very, very muddy boy.
Yes, he is a muddy boy. But yeah, so they go to like this little like citadel or something. There's some kind of outpost that is affiliated with Count Odious, right? And there's a bunch of these like black armored guards there. So they have a little battle.
Yeah, they're rescuing the masked bandit's brother.
Yeah, right. His twin brother.
The blue bandit.
Yes.
The black bandit and the blue bandit.
Yeah.
This action sequence is so much fun.
It's awesome. It is because like obviously like the protagonist of this movie, one of the protagonists of this movie is a stuntman, Roy, right? And it's like the stunts in the fantasy world really reflect the movie's kind of appreciation for stuntmen and their craft. A lot of the stunts, like you get a lot of guys falling off of horses, you get a lot of great squibs, you get a lot of great sword play. It is very much the movie kind of tipping its hat to, people like Roy Walker who do this for real,
You mentioned squibs. I like that this movie, despite having childhood as a main focus and then child's imagination, is still pretty violent and dark.
Yeah, kids imagine blood and guts all the time.
It's pretty cool.
When I was 5, I was imagining blood and guts, I wasn't seeing it, but you best believe I was imagining it,
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear like scary campfire stories when you're a kid about like, people getting their guts ripped out by monsters or whatever. And it's like, even if you don't know what that looks like, you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how the blood is kind of like vibrant. It's like almost like, it's that like giallo blood that's like so bright red that it's like maybe almost like fuchsia, like almost like kind of pinkish. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense because it's inside the mind of a child, right? So like this is how she's imagining blood, you know. But yeah, all the fight choreo in this movie, in this sequence especially, is like really fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like they come across the Mystic and he's like taking out like 60 of these guards all at once.
They're peeking through the keyhole and it's like it looks like a rhinoceros is rampaging and just knocking like dozens of these guys to the side.
He's like Neo fighting the Agent Smiths in Matrix 2.
Right. I also like that we get rule of 3 on the bombs with Luigi, and this is the first beat of the rule of 3 on the bombs, where it's like he goes to blow the door open with a stick of dynamite, and then Darwin picks the lock before the stick of dynamite explodes, and then they get in, and the Mystic has dealt with all the guards, and Luigi has to put his dynamite out because he doesn't need it anymore. He didn't need to blow the door open, and like that's beat 1, and we get a perfect rule of 3 on this. I was very pleased with how this running gag paid off. But yeah, so the Mystic joins their party. The Blue Bandit's not there, so then they're gonna go. Well, they start following the Mystic because he's like he knows where to go. So Darwin is leading the rest of them based on the Mystic's instructions. He takes them to this little green valley in this desert, which the reveal shot of the green place.
This is later.
Oh yeah.
Because they go into the temple, they find that Governor Odious has killed his brother.
Right. He kills the Blue Bandit
and has killed his friends.
And there's a meat chandelier.
Because Roy says that they were all, it was like it's the chandelier room and they were all hung, and so she imagines them as being hung like a man chandelier.
Yes.
Which is somehow more fucked up than the other image that this could be.
There is a horrific chandelier made of meat. Yeah. You don't get a close-up of it, which I think is a wise choice because it's so striking in like the wide shot of the like painted, like really ornate ceiling with these like bodies hanging from it. But they look like they've been flayed. They look like they're like bodies with no skin made into a chandelier, which is horrifying.
Yeah. I also don't know if this is a bunch of stuntmen making a meat chandelier or if he built a practical meat chandelier.
No idea.
For this shot, but it's a really, really great image.
It's cool.
An important thing that happens here is he stops the story to ask her to touch one of his toes to see if he can feel it.
Yes. And this is the moment in the movie where I was like, it's really good that Tarsem got Lee Pace for this movie, because I would contend that a 2006 Lee Pace is the guy, the cisgender guy who seems the least like a pedophile out of anyone in the entire world. And that is vitally important for this movie.
Well, it's very important that you like Roy because he is textually a pretty shitty guy who's going through some things and maybe not dealing with it in the best way.
And because of the relationship that this strange man has with this 5-year-old girl who has a broken arm and doesn't speak English fluently and is at a lot of disadvantages power dynamic wise, right? It is vitally important that the guy playing Roy Walker seems like very wholesome and kind and good-hearted despite his flaws. And like, I can just imagine this character going so much worse than it goes if you had someone who was not Lee Pace in this role. Like, this could have been horrendously fucked up if all the lines were the same, all the moments were the same, but like the guy just seemed like a creep, you know?
Yeah, just swap him out with Jack Nicholson or something.
Yeah, you get Kevin Spacey in that hospital bed, all of a sudden you're like, and that's even before we knew about all this shit.
Yeah.
Just like that guy's vibe. You know?
God.
Yeah. But Lee Pace, like, I don't want to gloss over it as like a one-off joke. He does seem so genuinely not threatening to her in a way that I think is so crucially important to this movie. Like, even when he is manipulating her, it's sort of out of like a sad desperation, and there's like no malice in it, like, ever. And I think that that's like it's sort of the secret sauce that like makes this part of the movie work at all, you know, is their dynamic and how kind he is to her, even though he is like using her ultimately, you know?
Yeah. And I think part of what makes it work is how they filmed a lot of those scenes. They have the curtains up, the hospital curtains up. So it's just the two of them under those curtains. And Tarsem shot it in a way where he cut holes in the curtains so he could shoot through them and just have it feel like a private moment between the two of them.
Yeah.
And also kept hidden from the crew and the cast that Lee Pace was not paralyzed.
Right. This is a crazy fucking thing about this movie, is that Tarsem just made Lee Pace lie to everyone and pretend like his legs didn't work for the entirety of the shoot of all the hospital
Yeah, like you're
stuff.
going to show up in a wheelchair on set.
And I'm going to
get
introduce you as a paraplegic actor. And because it's 2006 and you haven't done Pushing Daisies yet, nobody fucking knows better. You know?
Yeah. Which is it's one of those crazy things. It's when you watch an interview with Tarsem, it's like, this guy seems sort of insane. But undeniably, I do think that method worked for maintaining the immersion and the realism in the relationship that he has with Catinca.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is just wild that he made Lee Pace pretend to be disabled even though he's not. That's crazy.
It's almost as funny to me as Brad Dourif staying in character as Wormtongue for the entirety of Lord of the Rings, and then afterwards people being like, oh wait, so you're not British?
Wait, I know a lot of Lord of the Rings behind the scene trivia. I don't know if I knew that. Brad Dourif was doing Grima method the whole time?
I think so.
What the fuck?
I don't know that he was totally method, but he was at least maintaining the voice.
That's wild. Also, it's crazy to be coworkers with Brad Dourif and not know he's American. Like, have you never seen a fucking Child's Play movie?
Probably. I mean, probably a lot of people don't know who Brad Dourif is.
I feel like Elijah Wood has definitely seen a Child's Play movie. You know? That guy's he loves indie horror. I'm sure he knew who Brad Dourif was before working with him on.
I don't know. Did he?
He's
know
not. Well, he's not.
He's not
probably
in any
wasn't on
scenes
set
with him?
with Brad Dourif. Because he's not in any scenes with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I assume Christopher Lee knew who Brad Dourif was. They're both horror guys. I don't know if Christopher Lee ever saw a Chucky movie. Actually,
those silly Child's Play movies are beneath me. I do dignified horror like Dracula and Dracula.
Yeah.
Other Lord of the Rings connection.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson cast Lee Pace as Thranduil, cunty elf guy in The Hobbit, based on his performance in The Fall.
Oh, cool. Wow. Did not know that.
Yeah.
It is crazy that Lee Pace got Pushing Daisies, I think, like, the year this came out or maybe the year after, because that was really his breakthrough, was that TV show. And so it is crazy that, like, a normal Hollywood career trajectory, right? If this movie had been a hit and he had Pushing Daisies around the same time, then suddenly he would have been, like, immediately, like, at least B-list leading man. You get a hit movie and a TV show at the same time. You're, like, fucking on top of the world. But because this movie bombed so hard, he was just, like, Pushing Daisies guy for a few years, and it feels like it took a while for him to really take off. You know?
Yeah. If it were in that alternate universe, he would have been an Oppenheimer, clearly.
Right. Chris Nolan would have been like, yeah, get me all the B-tier guys you have. Lee Pace, get in here.
Yeah.
You're 6'5", I'll find a guy who was tall.
He would have had
Los Alamos.
He would have had his moment in Hollywood, had a bit of a career drop off, and then been in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Nolan would have been like, this guy was always great.
He is great in this movie, though.
He is.
I love him. And he's 6'5", which,
Quite a long gentleman.
he's a long guy. It's really unfair that he is that tall and also that handsome. It just feels like that shouldn't be allowed. It feels like, come on, man. Like, have the dignity to at least, like...
He's very pretty in this movie.
He is.
He's also
gorgeous.
He's also very pretty as cunty elf guy in The Hobbit.
He's pretty in
He's got the long hair to help.
Pushing Daisies as the guy who can, like, bring people back to life by touching them. You ever seen that show?
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
I was like searching in my mind, and I was like, 6 feet under? No, it's not 6 feet under.
It's a TV show where he runs a pie shop. He's like a pie baker. But his secret is that he has a magical power where if he touches a dead thing, it comes back to life.
Okay.
And if he touches it again, it dies again. And I'm pretty sure the main thing in that show is that, like, the girl that he is in love with dies, and he touches her to bring her back to life, and he can never touch her again because if he touches her again, she'll die. So they have, like, a romance where they can't touch, is sort of the deal with that show.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched a lot of it when it was airing. I remember liking it a lot and liking him a lot, but yeah. Anyway, so we pause so that Alexandria can touch his toe, and there's the very cute and sweet, but also kind of sad moment where he guesses the wrong toe, and she pretends that he guessed right because you can tell that she knows that that's what he wants to hear, and like she wants to give him good news. It's a very like genuine kid thing where it's like the kid can tell the outcome that you want, and they're like trying to please you. You know?
There's another moment here at the hospital before we go back into the story where she steals the communion wafers.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that I could relate to as a kid. Not that I stole communion wafers, but I was so fucking excited to have the little cracker that they give you at communion.
Yeah, man.
I was like, oh, you get a snack at church? That's fucking rad.
That's right.
And then when I finally had my communion, I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it's not very good.
It's not good.
The Eucharist is not that good. I think they have to make it not that good because if the Eucharist tastes too good, I feel like that's a sin somehow.
Yeah, I wonder what it's like. Are there just factories mass producing this like Cheez-Its?
I think there must be. I think there must be Eucharist manufacturers, yeah.
And there's probably, is there a priest at some point in the process just like blessing these things as they come down?
If you're Catholic,
the
conveyor belt? Yeah, right. Like there's the guy who like whose job is to like cut them into the little pieces, and then there's like the guy who supervises baking.
They go into the oven,
right?
And then there's the guy that does the
like
that stamps
them,
across,
right.
and then the priest blesses
and then,
them.
Right, and then there's a priest on the conveyor belt, and he's like, yes, the body and the blood, or whatever. Yeah, I imagine that must exist at least for Catholic Eucharist, right? Because they have to be blessed by a priest for the Catholics. I think I grew up Protestant, and I'm pretty sure our little bread was not blessed by anyone because we don't do all that shit. It's just like, no, yeah, you get your little bread. It doesn't matter if a priest ever had eyes on it or if it's just like straight from like the Nabisco factory. It's it's the same deal.
Yeah.
We're a little more loosey goosey with that kind of thing. I do like the whole bit with the Eucharist though, where she brings it to him and she's like, I got a snack from church. And this is where the whole "are you trying to save my soul" exchange happens, which is very cute. It's like one of those moments where like they're having trouble understanding each other, and he's like trying to be like, well, like that's what the bread does, like, and then he kind of realizes that maybe she wasn't raised Catholic or potentially in the church at all, so he's kind of like, yeah, like never mind, like, you know what? Now that I'm saying it out loud, it sounds kind of silly to me, so let's just drop it, Yeah,
and then we pick up the story here.
Yeah.
With the...
This is where they go to the green place.
They go to the green place.
Yeah.
First we have
like it's Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
The green place.
Yeah. Yeah. The masked bandit changes to Lee Pace here.
Right. This is where we get the big white backdrop in the middle of the desert. He, we get the great shot of him putting his hand down and like the blood soaking through his brother's corpse in the white drape,
and then the blood climbs up the white drape.
That's so cool,
fucking
awesome. And yeah,
that's one of those where it's like that's probably a digital effect,
right?
And Tarsem's just a little bit full of shit.
Yeah.
But,
he's building his own myth in real time or whatever.
But the digital effects, if they are here, are incorporated very well into the
Yeah,
film
yeah.
throughout. And he swears revenge on Governor Odious.
Yes, and he's going to destroy every Spanish thing. And then Alexandria chimes in and she's like, I thought he was Spanish. Because he's forgetting the details of his own story that he's making up.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, actually, he's French.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, mon bandits. And they're like, oui, le capitaine.
And he's still dressed like a matador, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He's one of those French matadors.
Watching this the second time, some of the funny and cheesy dialogue in the fantasy sequences that is spoken by the actors and not done in voiceover, it's implied that this is just them acting out the dialogue as they talk and we're not hearing it in voiceover.
Yeah.
So it's very funny to imagine one of them coming up with these silly lines for some of the characters.
Yeah. I like all that stuff. And I like her being like, because clearly Lee Pace has been doing a voice for the bandit. And Alexandria's like, why are you talking like that? Like, why does he sound like that? And he's like, oh, because he's your dad. And she's like, well, I think he should sound like you. And he's like, oh, okay. And then, like, the actor literally just turns into Lee Pace, which is great. It's also like, that was a very poignant moment of this movie for me. And it's when I picked up on, like, one of the other things that this movie is about, which is, like, the relationship between the two of them kind of turning into a father-daughter relationship, right? And it's like, this movie, like we said, is incredibly unsubtle. It is very not subtle. Her dad literally turns into him here. And like, even though it's unsubtle, it really worked for me. The moment where her dad turns into Lee Pace, I was like, oh, like, I feel my heartstrings being tugged already, you know?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this movie have a cry count for you?
No. Does it have one for you?
Yep.
Okay.
I haven't cried yet, but it's like I mentioned my heartstrings getting tugged. So.
I'm going to go with 2.
All right. 2 is the guess.
Yeah, I think we aimed high last time, and rightfully so. You cried 7 times watching The Iron Giant.
I did. I was emotionally vulnerable, I guess.
I think you probably exhausted a lot of your tear supply on that one.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. I did not cry watching this. I think because I watched it in a weird state emotionally the first time.
Right. And then the second time you were like ready for it.
I think that's what messed it up for me. I was like still emotionally invested, but like there weren't really tears coming.
Right. Yeah.
The second time around.
But yeah, so then after he swears revenge, then they go to the green place in the desert. They follow the mystic. Darwin follows him into like this valley, and the reveal shot of the green place where the mystic is from.
Yeah, the steps.
This is fucking insane. This movie is full of incredible visuals. This one feels especially worth calling out to me because it's like you go over like a ridge that's like a sand dune, and I don't know how the fuck they did it. Like, did they put down turf? Does this location actually exist? Like, what the fuck is going on? Because we go from like desert sand dunes into like Mayan ruins, and it looks so good and it's so seamless. And I was like, where on the planet did they film this? How? Yeah. Like, what?
I also like that the mystic is eating the map the whole time.
He's eating the map, and Darwin's like, the map is poisonous, which is okay.
We'll just go with it. But it's very funny to watch this dirty little shit man eating all of them, eating the map.
And then the mystic goes down into the valley, and he's like blowing on like a horn that he has. And probably one of my favorite shots of the movie, maybe my favorite shot of the movie. This is the first of many times when I vocally reacted to this movie on my couch. Is when all of the people from like the Mystic's tribe raise up out of the mud.
Yeah, dude.
And he, like, lift him up, and he's like crowd surfing on them. And like they come out of nowhere. They just like pop up into frame, and it is fucking it's insane. This is like some of the best shit I've ever seen.
So you locked in to the island stuff at the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
Watching this last night, the combination of the shot of the mystic being lifted by his tribe, rising out of the grass, coupled with what immediately follows this, which is this chant that the Mystics tribe does to create a map on his body.
Yeah.
And the editing and the sound of this chant, the visuals of the actors moving, the guy who's like
The, like, ritual
conducting
leader
this
guy,
thing,
he
who's
fucking-
shaking
that dude
and dancing.
rules.
This was the moment where I was watching the movie where I was like, I am not in the right headspace for this, because I can tell this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen, but it is not stirring me emotionally the way it should be, and I need to watch this again tomorrow.
Yeah. Did it work for you better the second time?
You bet it did.
Hell yeah.
The movie in general worked better for me the second time.
Yeah.
More on that when we get to our verdicts.
This sequence is incredible. This is like the fucking... It's all the shit that we were talking about earlier where it's like, yeah, a lot of the locations in this movie were used for like one shot. It's mostly in this montage where the Mystic's body is getting tattooed with the map of how they get to Governor Odious, right? And it's like, yeah, this is where you get the one shot of the Great Wall and the one shot of the Eiffel Tower and the Statue of Liberty. And yeah, this shit is so it's so stirring, and it's like psychedelic and crazy, and it's so rad.
I love that this little movement of the movie where we're suddenly in like a documentary about a tribe somewhere in the Himalayas.
We're doing a little bit of Torikong.
I love that this comes out of nowhere, and a lot of the sequences in this movie have that feeling of coming out of nowhere in a way that is maybe different than genre mashup movies that we could name, like From Dusk Till Dawn or Neil Marshall's Doomsday, where there's very clear delineations in the genres that the film is operating in. And I think that is because this is a movie that is being that is set in a time when motion pictures are still being, in its motion pictures as an art form still in its infancy.
Right.
And it's being imagined by a child who has never seen a movie before.
Right.
So it forms this kind of amorphous genre mashup of all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of a pirate thing. There's a little bit of like, an Arabian Nights story going on. And myth and what she's heard about the world. It all just kind of comes together in its own singular adventure story. So there's the montage of them going around the world.
Yeah.
Because the Mystic now has a map on his body, which is just a really cool detail.
It's really cool. That whole sequence is really cool. There's like the little dot under his skin that's like traveling the map and shit. It's all really rad.
Yeah.
And they end up in this desert, in this mountain desert. And when I was watching an interview with Tarsem, he was talking about how this scene was filmed in like high elevation deserts in the Himalayas. Like one of the hardest places on earth to get to is where they filmed this carriage scene. And it's so rad watching this scene, knowing that it's like, oh yeah, they had to like hire Sherpas to take them here because it's like one of the most inaccessible and inhospitable places on the planet.
And then build a crazy, insane, evil carriage and then have extras pull it.
Yes, and light it on fire. Yeah. It's batshit insane. I love it. So yeah, the party shows up to this mountain desert, and there's this carriage being pulled by a bunch of slaves.
So who has the easier job in this? The slaves pulling the carriage or the slaves in the wheels?
I am so glad you mentioned the wheel guys, David, because the wheel guys were also in my notes. Wheel guys have the easiest job. That wheel is turning regardless. That guy's not doing shit. I think the wheel guy just has to look busy. Like the wheel's turning. The slaves who are pulling the carriage are making the wheels turn. All you have to do is keep up with the wheel. You're not actually doing anything.
It does seem a little uncomfortable though, because the wheels just have spokes coming out of them, and that seems like constantly trying to climb those seems like it's difficult. But my other thought was like, that's a lot of guys pulling that carriage, and I'm wondering how the weight is distributed between them. Like, how much are you realistically pulling with that
That's
thing?
true.
With
There are
how
like,
many dudes there are.
It seems like there's like 40 or 50 dudes pulling this carriage. Like, that's a lot of guys. You're probably not actually working that hard. To be clear, like being any of these slaves seems bad because they're enslaved.
Sure.
That being said, I think one of these wheel guys could probably just like lay down and take a little nap in the wheel, and no one would even notice.
I do think if I was a wheel guy, after about 5 minutes, I'd be like, all right, this is getting fucking boring. This is getting old real quick. And at least
Can
with
I get yoke
pulling,
duty, please?
at least with pulling, that's like consistent, and I know what I'm in for.
Yeah.
And I can eventually get used to it, where I feel like just the constant trying to climb this wheel, I would just get sick of it. I think it's more annoying than anything else.
Nobody pushing. Lots of guys pulling. Maybe we reallocate some of those pulling guys. Make them push.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Just to mix things
more,
up.
more easily distribute things. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Get some guys on push duty. See how that works out.
Also, cars exist in this fantasy universe, as we established
right.
at the end.
Count Odious does have a convertible, yeah.
Maybe fucking put a V12 in this carriage.
Right, like maybe like just put your fiance in a hot rod instead of this carriage. And then you will save on all of this. Well, I guess I was going to say you'll save on all the slave labor, but I guess you're not paying them. That's kind of the whole deal.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with slaves.
That's kind of how that works.
The slaves got to do something else.
Yeah.
And at that point, what's the point of having slaves?
Right.
You gotta have the slaves do something.
Yeah, one would argue maybe you shouldn't have them. Controversial take, I know, but maybe just pay people, I guess.
But then you're named Governor Odious, and you're not
It's
living
true.
up to the name.
It's true. If you're Governor Odious, you have to be doing some nefarious shit. Otherwise, it's a missed opportunity. Governor Odious is a great name. Props to Roy Walker for that improv.
It's also very silly and dumb and sounds like a name that he just made up on the spot, which is why it's a good name for this movie.
Yeah. I love Governor Odious. Yeah. Anyway, so they're about to free the slaves from the carriage, but then Roy stops the story, and he's like, "Yeah, come back tomorrow, and I'll tell you more." And this is a great line from Alexandria happens here, which is like, "You always stop the story when things are very interesting and beautiful."
Yeah, it's a really, really great line.
Yeah.
Because he's stopping the story because he's like, "Hey, kid, can you give me some fucking morphine?"
This was so until this point of the movie, the only thing that we've seen him do is tell her stories, and then like there's the interlude where he's like, "Hey, touch my toe," right?
Yeah, and we've seen
see if I can feel it.
We've seen some stuff from her perspective of people coming to visit him from this movie shoot that he did.
Yeah,
I think it's just the guy with the one leg
At this point,
but it's clear that like he hurt himself on the film set and he's in pain, and like people are concerned about him.
yes, and so this was a real. As someone who didn't know what to expect with this movie, when he stops the story and is like, "Hey, come back tomorrow and I'll tell you more of the story if you get me, can you read English this?" And he has the paper that says morphine, right? And I was like really kind of blindsided by this because I was like, oh, fuck, there's an ulterior motive to his friendship with this child that I did not see coming. And initially I was like, oh, he's becoming hooked on opiates. Like he's addicted to these drugs and he just wants to take more because he's taking them for his pain and he's like this is an addiction, right? And then obviously later in the movie, a little bit later, it's revealed that like, no, he wants to hoard these pills to commit suicide. Was also both of those separately were like kind of huge reveals for me in a way that I really, really liked. Because I liked that the movie didn't telegraph it enough that I got it before he said it, like before he asks her for the morphine, I didn't expect him to. And then before it becomes clear that he is going to kill himself with these pills, I didn't realize that. I thought it was like more innocuous than that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to withhold it to one of their like the second or third meeting that they have, because you already like him at this point,
right?
And you feel
and you've
more
seen that he is so like gentle and kind to her.
Yeah, it's important that you like him because this moment comes across as a conflicting moment in your relationship with his character.
Right.
Because it's like you see the goodness in him. You see the purity of him. And then you start questioning this ulterior motive and why he's doing this.
Yes. Another thing that this movie made me think about is our as audience members, our complicated relationships to the artists who make the things we love.
Yeah.
Is a thing that this movie makes me think about, because it's like, yeah, like you love Roy, and then you see him manipulating this girl to get pain meds, and then you realize that it's for a suicide attempt, and it's like all of that stuff complicates your feelings about him, and it's like you still like him and you're still rooting for him and you feel sad for him, and at the same time you're like, you fucking bastard, like you piece of shit, you know? And it's like in the age of like quote unquote cancel culture or whatever, right? It's like I feel like a lot of us have had to reevaluate our feelings about artists who make things we like. Sometimes they do things that are really reprehensible and it's really black and white. It's really easy to say fuck Neil Gaiman, fuck Kevin Spacey, fuck whoever, right? It's like really easy to write those people off entirely. But like sometimes it's like weird and messy and complicated.
Yeah.
You know?
More often than it is clear cut, it's more often messy and complicated.
Right. Where it's like, oh, this person like disappointed me. And I have no right to feel disappointed because they don't owe me anything. I'm just an audience member for the art that they create. But at the same time, I like wanted to think they were good. And I've like received evidence that instead of being good, they're human. You know? And like that like sucks. Like, because we want these people to be icons and gods. We don't want them to be human, you know? And it's like I kind of feel like that's one of the things that this movie is kind of saying, is it's like, no, it's good. It's good that they're human. It's good that Roy is flawed because he tells a better story because he's flawed, is kind of how the end of this movie feels to me. It's like, wouldn't it be less interesting if like all the heroes survived and Count Odious just like was defeated easily, you know? Wouldn't that be less satisfying, actually, than if this was coming from a person who is experiencing pain that they are reckoning with, and they're sharing that process with us as art?
I think his relationship with Alexandria works better for us as an audience if he is a damaged, flawed, complicated person.
Yes.
Because not only does that inform like our relationship with artists and stuff like that, but with other people, with damaged, flawed, complicated people that we all are,
right? And
we evaluating our reasons for being friends with people, and the relationships that we have, and the push and pull of that relationship.
Right. Like if I wasn't so annoying and selfish, you wouldn't like me as much, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know? Like if the old guy in this movie with the false teeth.
Yeah.
Who to his credit is
he's not creepy at all.
Not creepy at all, despite being an old guy.
Very nice old man interacting very wholesomely and not pervy at all with this child.
Yes, yeah. And it seems like a very pure gentleman who just has this girl's good intentions at heart. If he was telling the story to Alexandria, I think we would feel different if it was this is just a nice guy sharing a story to a kid. It would be
then
like
he's the grandpa from Princess Bride.
Yeah, then he's the grandpa from Princess Bride.
Right, he's Peter Falk.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story here about the Black Bandit.
The Black Bandit doesn't die here, you know. And it's clear that they both need something from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that it is kind of unclear to the audience and also to them what that is for the course of the movie.
Yeah. I kind of think that that's why the climax of this movie and the end of their story is so drawn out, and it's just kind of them fighting each other about the way the story should end, right? Is because it's the characters in real time trying to figure out what they want from each other, right? What the artist wants from the audience and what the audience wants from the artist, right? I feel like I'm jumping ahead to the end a lot, but I want to say it while I'm thinking about it. I also think that the end of the movie is sort of an argument as to why audiences sometimes deserve happy endings, right? Like sometimes audiences are like, no, it has to turn out okay because I need this right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it was like you said during Iron Giant last week, like when you're a kid, the giant has to be alive.
Yeah.
He has to make it through the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, it's like, no, when you're a kid, the masked bandit has to save the day.
Right. He has to
win.
live on to have other adventures.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, what does that mean for me? You know? Because she is the masked bandit, like literally by the end of the movie, right? So it's like, yeah, like you got to give people hope sometimes, you know? And it feels like this movie, especially at the end, is very much a struggle between an audience who is demanding hope and an artist who doesn't feel any, you know? But yeah, before all that happens,
she goes to get drugs for this guy.
Yeah.
And I really love that she misinterprets, and this was a thing that came up naturally working with her.
I love this.
As he wrote out the word morphine in all caps, she misinterprets the E as a 3 because it's a capital letter. So Tarsem incorporates that into the story, where she goes to get the morphine pills from the storeroom.
Yeah.
And then only brings him 3, and she goes, "Where'd the rest go? I flushed them down the toilet."
I also, it was striking me watching this movie how on our podcast we have covered the entire spectrum of what a Romanian accent is capable of, because it is so fucking cute coming out of this kid's mouth when she says, like, "I flushed them down the toilet" in her little Romanian accent. It's the cutest thing you've ever heard. And then when Adrian motherfucking Tofay is speaking in his Romanian accent in Be My Cat, a Film for Anne, it is the most fucked up and horrific thing you've ever heard. And I was like, I think the greatest movie ever made has now covered both extremes of Romanian actors.
I keep doing this where I picture different characters in Lee Pace's role, and now it's just like,
if it's Adrian Tofay, this movie is unwatchable if Lee Pace is Adrian Tofay.
Okay, so the masked bandit, he is in love with Anne. He's going to save Anne from the evil governor Odious.
Alexandria, you need to get me some pills, okay? Okay?
Oh my god! Oh my gosh, she got me 3 pills. She thought I meant 3. Oh my god. Oh. I need you to touch my toe, okay? Okay, you just touch my toe.
We could talk like artists here. Just touch my toe.
Are you touching my toe? Is it my big toe? Meanwhile, I'm on my couch throwing up into a bucket.
Just like
just white knuckling the armrest.
Oh my god, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah. You know, Romania, the country contains multitudes. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those angry people who killed her father was Adrian Tofay. Hello, I'm in this movie.
Oh, he is so dead. Your father, he is so dead.
He is so dead.
I shot him in the head. Do you say that?
People are dying.
This will only make sense if you've listened to our Be My Cat, a Film for Anne episode, a movie that is probably somehow even less seen than The Fall.
Hey, you can find it on Tubi. Not Mubi.
Tubi and
This
Mubi.
is on Mubi.
All
That's
you
on
need.
Tubi. Yeah, she brings him 3 pills. I love this moment where it's like, it's such a pure like childish misunderstanding, and to your point, like came from a thing from the actual child actor. And I like that Roy is kind and decent and isn't mad at her. He's like, frustrated with the situation because he's like, I need more pills. But he doesn't take it out on her at all. When we see him blow up, he reserves that for the other adults, you know? And it's a thing that like is very important to this movie, that it's like he is trying to preserve her innocence even though he's implicating her in his suicide attempt. Right?
Yeah.
It's the balance. It's the line that he's
trying to
walking up,
preserve her innocence while doing a very insane fucked up thing to this kid.
Yeah. He's walking on the knife's edge of being a decent guy and a total piece of shit in a way that's very intriguing and compelling. Right?
Yeah, and I think it is coming from a place of like, the only person in the world that he can connect to right now is this child.
Yeah.
And
he likes telling her the story too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's not an accident that he overdoses on what he thinks is morphine. He takes all the pills while he's telling her the story. I don't think that's on accident. I think it's because he wants to die doing something that he likes.
Yeah.
And that he feels nice doing. You know, it's like, because he takes all the pills, but he keeps telling her the story after he's taken them until he falls asleep, right? He wants to be with her because that's the thing that's making him feel alive, you know?
Yeah, the visual of him, of them lying in bed together, and he has the drawing that she made on his chest
God, it's so heartbreaking.
with all of the pills on it, so he can just like dunk them all in. He can just down them in one swig.
Yeah.
That visual is so powerful and impactful and conveys the thematic realm that this movie is operating in so well with just that image.
Yeah.
We're jumping ahead, but
yeah,
that happens.
Before we get there, like, so she comes back with the 3 pills, and she's like, "You promised me to continue the story."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Okay, like, you know, you're right. You brought me 3 pills, which wasn't really what I was looking for, but you know, promise is a promise." So he tells her he keeps telling her the story. Has the fucking hypochondriac guy already interrupted? Did that happen in the earlier
He's
bit of the
probably
story?
interrupted at
Yeah.
some point.
So like earlier in the movie, there's like this hypochondriac guy who shows up. He's in the same ward as Roy. He doesn't actually have anything wrong with him. He's just like neurotic and annoying. And the doctors are like, "Okay, fine, you can stay here and whatever, you know." And they're giving him some pills to take. And this guy sucks. I like that this guy just like, from the moment he's introduced, you're like, oh yeah, this is the guy who is annoying and bad and sucks. Right?
He was supposed to be General Odious. We keep messing up the honorific.
Governor
Odious.
Governor Odious.
He was supposed to be Governor Odious originally, and then they changed it to the actor who stole Roy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because you watch the movie, and he's in it so prominently that you figure he'll have some sort of counterpart in the fantasy story, but he doesn't.
I like that this guy kind of sucks so much that he's not even worthy of being in the fantasy world.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good
it's
way
like,
to look at it.
No, you don't get to be like the big bad of the fantasy world because you're like a little too mundane of an antagonist, right? Like you're a little bit too like, this is just a guy who would like get on your nerves in line at the bank. You know, it's like, that's not Governor Odious. Governor Odious is the guy who stole your girlfriend. This guy's just like, he doesn't even get to go to the cool fantasy land. He doesn't deserve a cool costume. But yeah, so like sometime when they're telling the story earlier, I think, he interrupts and is like, hey, like, what the fuck's going on here? This kid is down here in this ward. Like, I'm trying to get some rest. This isn't time for you to fucking tell stories. And he kind of shoves Alexandria.
Yeah.
And Lee Pace grabs him and is like, leave her alone. And it's like, and really stands up for her there, which is a great moment because you get to see him kind of go into Papa Bear mode. Like, this is very much like a father-daughter kind of relationship that is starting to develop between the two of them, and he reacts like this is his kid, you know. And I love that little moment.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, also the little key to that guy's nightstand gets dropped and Lee Pace gets it, which also sets up a thing. But,
yeah. And I like that it reminds you that he does genuinely care for her, even as he's starting to
right. He's like,
use her for his nefarious purposes.
This girl is getting me pills so that I can kill myself, but also she's a sweet little girl. Lay off.
Yeah.
Lay off my drug mule.
Back in Fantasyland, they attack the carriage and
They free all the guys pulling the carriage. They free the guys whose job is wheel. There's some very cool squibs here. Some of those X-ray tech guard guys get shot, and we get some cool squibs and get them falling off horses here and shit. It's awesome.
But there's the princess is in the carriage and not General Odious.
Yeah.
And this little kid who's his nephew, something, I don't know.
Yeah. He looks a little bit like he's the next Dalai Lama.
Yeah. And then her costuming, where she has this like visor that flips up.
The fan visor is so fucking rad.
I do think George Lucas is probably kicking himself that he didn't have this in mind for Padme Amidala.
This
for
does
Phantom
seem
Menace.
like some Naboo ass shit that she's wearing. She's got like this big like kimono robe thing. Yeah, and the fan visor.
Yeah.
It's funny when the fan visor is pulled back and it's revealed that this is a white lady in this costume. Because it is so extremely East Asian coded.
Sure.
That it's like the visor goes up and you're like, oh, wow, not what I was expecting.
But it's Nurse Evelyn.
Right, yes. It's Nurse Evelyn.
And then they introduce the priest here, and it's cool that, Roy is setting up the priest to be a villain.
I love this.
And then she's like, no, the priest is an okay guy.
Alexandria's like, oh, the priest is a good man. And he's like, yeah, of course. Priests are always good. Sure. Like, he's like, oh, this kid doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
All right. We'll save that.
It changes mid-scene where the priest is about to strike the kid with the stick.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he was going to kill a snake with the stick. He's actually a good guy.
Yeah. Because Alexandria's like, no, I like priests. And he's like, okay, me too.
I do have to say, the guy playing the priest, both in the fantasy and the reality world, great face on this guy.
One of the creepiest faces of all time.
If this guy hasn't played a Nazi in the Holocaust drama, he really should.
He's missing his calling.
This guy looks like Joseph Goebbels.
This guy looks like, when I was reading the Harry Potter books as a child, this guy looks like what I was imagining Lord Voldemort to look like. If this guy had a snake nose, that is what was in my head when I was reading those books.
That was one thing I forgot to say. When I read books as a kid, or read a book that I didn't, there wasn't a movie to compare it to. Yeah, there had been no movie that I had seen. I would picture people that I knew as the characters.
Oh, I did that too sometimes.
So that's an aspect of this movie that rang true to my life.
Right. Yeah, Alexandria is just like, oh yeah, these people from the hospital are like the characters in this story. Yeah. Nurse Evelyn in the story, the fiance of Count Odious, and the Black Bandit are on a rooftop, and they have like all this like corny, cheesy romantic dialogue, which I like because it's like, it's very much like, Roy, he's a stuntman. He's not a writer.
He's just making
He's
up
doing his
stuff.
best. Yeah. And like his improv partner is a 5-year-old girl. So what they're coming up with is pretty corny and trite, which I enjoy. But yeah, they have kind of this like heart to heart. The great shot of him like taking off the mask is here. Where he's got like the crazy like square or rectangle red mask, and he like takes it off, and like the ribbons kind of like fall from his face as he's like bearing his soul to her. It's like very beautiful.
Do you have a favorite member of our heroes here?
I think,
did you say it was Luigi? I don't remember.
I love Luigi. I think my overall favorite member of the crew is the Indian.
I was gonna say that too.
He doesn't have a name. I like that he's just the Indian.
He doesn't say anything.
He talks occasionally, but not much. He has the habit of stroking his eyebrow when he's nervous, which they set up in like the character intro scene, which is fun. His costume is so fucking rad. Yeah, he's got the green with like the pointy hat.
Mostly shit. The Indian's job is to stand there and look cool.
Also, like, and the first time he's introduced,
does it so well.
He swims to the reef and he's shirtless in that scene. And also this dude is fucking jacked, which goes a long way. Gorgeous hair, beautiful mustache. Love this guy.
And because the part of his backstory is he'll never look on another
Right.
woman.
Yeah, so he's wearing a blindfold.
He has to put on the blindfold anytime the princess is around,
It's
which is
very
funny.
I
which
like it. I like it
shows
as
up
a
in the
running
scene.
bit. Yeah.
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 I love the Indian. Give me more of the Indian.
Yeah.
The Indian should have made it.
Yeah. He is the last one to go, other than the main two. Like, he's the last member of the party to die.
Yeah.
And I like that. I love that moment too, when he falls and Lee Pace in the story is like, oh, watching him fall. It's great. But yeah, so like the princess, Nurse Evelyn reveals that she is Count Odysseus's fiance here, and then like faints. And then we have another scene between her and the bandit, where he like is gonna shoot her.
He's gonna shoot her, and then they change the story so that the bullet, because Alexandra's like, she can't die.
Right.
The bullet gets caught in her locket.
Yeah. And then they're reading the inscription in the locket, and there's a really funny line when like it's like a whole paragraph written in there, and like partway through, Lee Pace is like, it says all that in that little locket. Which really made me laugh. But then after that, like after her life is spared by the locket, they have like a little romantic scene. And this is where, so like during the story, Roy has been like, hey, can you do me a favor? Take this key, go to the nightstand of like my neighboring patient, which is the hypochondriac guy. Get me a bottle of pills. I think he's been stealing them from me. So those are mine, like unlock it and bring it to me.
Yeah.
And she does. And so during this part of the story, when it's the bandit and the princess having their kind of like romantic, their kind of fraught romantic moment, he's also like taking all the pills. And I love the thing where it's like Roy's taking the pills in real life, and then in the story, like in Alexandria's imagination, the bandit also has the pills and is taking them like during the scene. This is where I was like, oh, this is like really Pan's Labyrinth, because it's like the fantasy and the reality are like bleeding together.
Yeah. And as he continues to tell the story, because this scene continues on where they go to get married and the priest is there, and then the guards swarm. Like as he keeps telling the story, and his voice becomes like he sounds more weak,
right? Like more labored.
His speech is slurring and stuff like that. Tarsem focuses on the fantasy so heavily that it becomes this like can we cut back to reality and check on him? Like,
but
what's
you
going
also
on?
kind of don't want them to, because it's so upsetting what's happening in real life. And that's the thing that like really sticks out to me in this sequence, especially after the wedding, because like there's the moment where like Alexandria I do have to call out, High Priestess Pod watched one scene of this movie with me because I made her come and watch a bit. Which is like after the bullet and the locket thing happens, and then the bandit and the princess are like getting more romantically involved. It cuts to reality, and Alexandria is like, kiss kiss, now they can kiss kiss.
Yes
And
I picked up on that the second time,
and I did make High Priestess Pod come watch this little kid go, now they can kiss kiss, because that is literally verbatim a thing my wife will say during movies. Is they kiss kiss. You've witnessed this.
yes.
But he says yes, they can kiss, but first a wedding, and we go to the wedding. And and a thing I love is like the wedding is happening. There's all of these guys in like relatively traditional Indian dress who are doing the like spinning, like the whirling thing. And it's visually stunning and amazing. And there's this like creeping sense of dread through the whole wedding where it's like, oh, it's a trap. And it's like, we go to the priest, right? And there's the amazing match cut that I've seen on Twitter 1,000 times before I even knew this movie existed and didn't know it was from this.
I forgot about the match cut, and then I'm watching the movie. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right."
His face,
the coolest fucking match cut in cinema history.
his face to the desert. It truly must be seen to be believed, because it's like we go from his face to the desert, and the desert matches his face perfectly, and then the camera angle changes so you can see it wasn't just like a matte painting. It's like no, it's the location. And I guess this took like Tarsem and crew like 3 days to set up the landscape so that it would match the face and stuff. But here is where I started feeling as a viewer, like in this part of the scene where they're in the desert, they've been betrayed, they're being left to die by the guards, and everything starts feeling really hopeless. You see all the heroes and they all look really beaten down and sunburned and their lips are chapped, and you're hearing Alexandria's voice trying to encourage him to like make the story happy, you know? And this is where I was like, I kind of don't want them to cut back to reality, because the reality is so bleak, and what she's doing is retreating into the fantasy because she is witnessing a traumatic event in real time.
It's something that she doesn't understand, and
Yes.
she can't. The dialogue shows that, where she's like trying to, like, don't go to sleep.
Right, it's not time to sleep
Not
now.
time to sleep now, and it starts as like kind of a playful thing,
But
and
it's
then
like you can also, like, they give her so much interiority and maturity in the script and in her performance that it's like, you know, that she knows that something is wrong, and it's like she is retreating further into the fantasy, and the movie is not cutting back to the hospital because she doesn't want to be there, because what she is witnessing is traumatizing her, you know? And it's like, it's so genius, and it made me as the audience member feel the same way she's feeling, where I'm like, don't take me back to the hospital, it's too painful, you know? Yeah.
This feeling is slightly offset by the fact that the evil guards are making weird pig noises.
They do make orc noises.
That's very funny.
I was sort of waiting for one of these guys to say, looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. They are heavily orc coded. In a way where I was like, this came out in 2006. Lord of the Rings was already a thing, you guys. Like, Peter Jackson had already made a couple of those by now. You know? Like, you can't just have guys in black leather armor going...
Also, the
you know, it's like a guy is doing that already.
So the ice block that she licks earlier in the movie, and the guy who's playing the delivery man plays the slave in the fantasy, the escape slave in the fantasy. The ice block is in this fantasy sequence.
Yeah.
And then one of these guards sticks his tongue out and licks it for some
so
reason.
gross.
It's gross, just like this, because you see you get a low angle on the top of the ice block, and then this black helmet leaning down, and
with
this
a
little
grown
pink tongue
man's
sticking
tongue.
out.
There are a few bodily appendages that are more disgusting than the tongue of a grown man. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of gross stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
There's the kid with the snake bites who's like foaming at the mouth, and then his mom looks at her and like scares
it's kind
the
of
shit
a
out
jump
her.
scare.
Yeah. And that's what she pees herself.
She pees herself because she's scared witnessing that. Yeah.
And then the old guy is like, well, you know, the magic words to say is googly googly.
Googly googly be gone.
Be gone.
Yes.
And I like that comes up in the I think it's the wedding scene here, when like things are starting to go bad, and Charles Darwin is like, the mystic is telling me about the secret words, and it's just funny hearing this like British actor very dramatically deliver
Googly googly go away. Yeah. There's another point in the movie. There's a few points in the movie where the score, there is like a choral element to the score that is like doing words from the script.
It's echoing the dialogue.
It's echoing,
the scene with
in the
him
romantic
and the
scene. Yes, and in the romantic scene between him and the princess, it is her voice. It's Alexandria's voice singing the words that they're saying along with it, which is.
It's actually her?
I don't know, but it sounds like
It
her.
sounds like her, yeah. Okay.
It's supposed to sound like her, whether it's her or not. And that is a moment that made me transcend when they are saying lines of dialogue, and then the score with a child's voice that sounds like Alexandria is singing the lines of dialogue they're saying as they're saying them. I did feel like I was levitating in the air. This whole bit in the desert where they've been left to die, and then Alexandria puts herself in the story,
Right.
and comes out of the burlap sack that Wallace the monkey has been in the entire time, and she suddenly she is like, if you're not gonna tell the story right, I'm part of it now,
Yeah. She's trying to save the day. She's trying to rescue them and rescue the story because she can't stop what's happening in front of her.
Yeah. And so it's like she has power over the world inside her head, and so that's where she's like trying to affect change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she like cuts everybody's bindings, and she like gives the bandit a gun and tells him to shoot the guards, and he can't, right? It's the moment here that really stuck out to me is she enters the story. She's in a little tiny version of the bandit costume with the mask and everything. Yeah. And she comes up to him to cut his bindings and give him the gun. And she's like, don't you recognize me? I'm your daughter, right? Because she's putting herself in the story and being like, oh, the bandit has a daughter. And he, even as he's fading, because he's taken the pills, he's like, oh, yeah, of course, my daughter from a previous marriage. He's like still playing into it, right? And he says, I didn't recognize you because you've got teeth. You must be stronger now, which is a reference to the thing earlier.
You're crying for the first time?
I'm crying for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. There's the thing earlier where she's talking about the old man with no teeth in the hospital ward.
Yeah,
right.
That's the source of his strength.
Yeah. She asks, like, why do his teeth come out? Right. Because he has dentures. And Lee Pace is like, oh, that's where he keeps his strength, and he puts them in a jar overnight to protect them or whatever. And he's like, your teeth make you strong. And then she has her two front teeth are missing, and he's like, looks like you're missing some strength, right? And then because they filmed it later in the fantasy sequence, she has her two front teeth. The adult teeth have started growing in, and that line. The I didn't recognize you because you've got teeth, you must be stronger now, is when I was kind of like, oh shit, this movie is like sappy and cheesy, and like a lot of the emotional stuff is kind of like corny and surface level and obvious, but it is executing it perfectly. Like it is so perfectly calculated with the precision of a guy that has done 1,000 Dior ads.
I don't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a guy who has like sold luxury products to so many people and just knows how to shortcut an emotional hook.
We have to make perfume seem like it's the coolest thing in the world, and will make you hot and sexy.
Yeah,
and
just like a guy who knows how to sell shit made this movie, and what he's selling is like empathy.
Yeah,
I
don't know if it's cheesy and sappy to me, because cheesy and sappy strikes me as like inauthentic and not genuine.
Right. There's not a cynical bone in this movie.
I think this movie is extremely genuine.
Yeah, I agree. Big time. Yeah, so I cried when he said, didn't recognize you because you got teeth, you must be stronger now.
Okay.
And then so the story kind of ends there, more or less, because he drifts off.
Yeah.
Right? Like Roy loses consciousness.
And we're left in suspense for a little while about what happened to him.
Yes. So like the next thing that happens, like we're in the real world for a little bit, and we see a body being wheeled out of the ward that Roy is in, like a corpse, and Alexandria thinks it's him and freaks out and like goes and like touches the toe of the corpse under the blanket to see if she can get a reaction. And she's like heartbroken. She's like devastated. And then she goes into the ward, and he's there, and it was the guy with the dentures. It was the old man who died, right? And Roy's still alive. And man, Lee Pace, dude.
The anguish and the pain that he expresses when he's woken up and he's realized that he's taken sugar pills.
Yeah.
As someone who has struggled with depression,
Yeah, man.
wow, I felt that so viscerally.
It feels really raw. And him freaking out and her leaving.
She pees herself again.
Yeah.
Which is so sad.
It was really hard to watch. It was hard to watch.
And they do it all in one shot where she comes in, she opens the curtains, he's still there, oh, he's still alive, great. And him slowly coming out of consciousness and realizing what's going on.
Yeah.
And that building to a point of rage and chaos, and the guy who's the hypochondriac flips out too, and then she pees herself. It is like a beautifully choreographed and composed scene, the way things escalate in the scene, and it's like, yeah, man, it's really powerful and impactful, and I felt it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like heartbreaking shit.
It does hit a little close to home for me.
Yeah. As much as I said this is nice Pan's Labyrinth, it's like less of a downer than Pan's Labyrinth. There's still some heavy shit.
No, I mean, like, I think you want to do a double feature of this and Pan's Labyrinth.
You're just going to feel like
It's like
ass. You're going to feel really, really rough after that.
I think they go hand in hand. I think this movie is like, yeah, it treats things with a little bit more sentimentality and romance to it, but it's still dealing with pretty heavy things.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy themes
Right.
at the core of it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's powerful shit. It in a way that I was really not expecting from this movie until it happened, you know. So after she sees this, her child brain is like, well, he needs more pills, right?
Yeah.
And so
woof.
yeah.
It's so, oh my
The
god.
1-2 punch of him waking up and despairing at still being alive, and then this, where she to fix him, to help him, is like, I have to get him his pills so he can sleep, right? She has a conversation with Nurse Evelyn where she talks about how she needs to get him the pills so he can sleep. And then she's like trying to sneak into the dispensary room, the storeroom again. And she sees the x-ray tech again. And it's very tense and scary because he looks like the monsters from her fantasy world. And then she sneaks into the dispensary room and she sees the morphine on the high shelf. And again, so many vocal reactions from me in this part of the movie where she's climbing up to get the morphine. And I'm like, no, oh my God, no. Because the movie does such a good job of setting up what's about to happen. Because it's like, you see, there's like a round thing. I don't know what it is. But you can see her foot is about to hit this thing that's going to spin.
I think it's is it the mortar or the pestle?
Oh, the pestle.
Yeah.
The mortar is the thing that you smash into, and the pestle is what
That
does
must
the
be what it
smashing.
is. I just
Smashing.
remembered that.
Yeah. Good job. Yeah, there's like a pestle. as student of the month, David Skander just pointed out to us.
I get gold star. It might not actually be, but
I think it's
whatever.
pestle. I don't
No
know.
one gives a fuck.
You know what? If you didn't see this movie, fuck you. It's a pestle. But she's reaching for the morphine. Her foot hits this thing, and it rolls out from under her foot, and the fall happens. And then we get this psychedelic, impressionistic, Lynchian, Phil Tippett sequence.
Yeah. It does turn into Mad God for a second. Wow, man.
I've never seen anything like this in a movie, I think.
Well, you just named a few things that
Well,
it's like.
But it's but I've never seen all of those things together in one movie before.
Sure.
Yeah, she slips, and then it's like you see a montage of stuntmen getting hurt, basically. You see like the guy with the false leg and his false leg shattering. You see a guy spearing another guy in the leg. You see a guy take a stunt fall and really hurt himself, it seems like. And then you see her dad.
Yes. Well, her dad is playing the bandit in some of these scenes.
Yeah. And you see her dad as the bandit in front of a backdrop, but then he leaves the backdrop and you see her, presumably her childhood home in Romania, burning. And this is the moment where the angry people come and burn down her home and steal her horse and kill her father, right? And you see that. And it's all done with a voiceover from Alexandria being like, Father, no, there's angry people, like, they're going to hurt you, and it's her kind of revisiting this trauma. And fuck, dude, this shit is so good. This shit is so good. I don't really know what to like. It's a point where words fail and you really just have to see the thing.
It transitions to a stop motion sequence where she's imagining, like,
she's like a doll.
Her recovery in the hospital.
Right, her surgery, like she's a doll and they cut her head open and then inside her head is the snowflake note that she wrote, and they're trying to decipher it, and there's all these like guys in robes who are like trying to decipher what's in her head.
And the dolls that are representing the doctors, like she has a doll that looks like that in her cigar box that's not really alluded to or made. They don't point it out that much in the movie.
And she's pinned to the table like the butterfly is pinned.
Yeah.
Like Darwin's butterfly has been pinned and mounted.
Yeah, he really beautifully brings together all the visual metaphors and iconography that he's used so far in this sequence.
This sequence when she falls and then has this vision trip, whatever, like we see what's happening in her head after the fall. This is the moment of this movie where I was like, okay, like, I don't think before this point I necessarily thought that this was like one of the great movies. After this sequence, I'm like, all right, maybe we're having that conversation, because like before this, I was like, this is really good. And it's crazy that a guy whose filmography is otherwise sort of like by reputation underwhelming. I haven't seen any of his other films, so I can't really opine. But it's like, it's interesting that this guy is known for this movie. And I see why that is, but like, does this really like need to be like as hyped as I've heard it is, And then like, I like watched this scene and I was like, fuck, dude. Like, I don't think I have ever seen anything that does this in this way ever. Right?
Yeah.
It was just a moment where I was like, I don't really know what I'm watching anymore in a good way.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think it's a movie obsessed with the psychology and the interiority of its main character. Mm-hmm. And this is an opportunity where it explores it basically completely visually.
Yeah.
And chooses to operate in metaphor and surrealist imagery and not lean on the mythic storytelling element. And it also is a moment where I think Tarsem Singh just showcases his love for film as a medium.
Yeah.
And what you can do with surrealist filmmaking, with animation.
There's the moment
with just like the meaning that you glean from putting two unrelated images together in editing.
There's the moment where the horse in the Romanian setting, where the bad men are stealing the horse, the horse bucks back and it splashes water onto the camera, and then in the exact same spots on the camera, the water turns to ice or crystals and transitions into the stop motion. It's like, how the fuck do you even think of that?
One of the things I like about it is like that early montage where there's all these different stuntmen in costumes taking these falls and being injured and their legs shattering and stuff like that. It's her brain still processing her physical trauma through the lens of storytelling. So she's imagining all the different ways that this story could go, and all these different, there's like the gladiators and the pirates at one point.
Yeah.
She's using that as a way to reckon with the physical trauma that she's going through. And the only like comparison that she has for that is the man with one leg that she met earlier, that she saw earlier.
Yeah.
That's like her first understanding of what it's like to, or another insight into understanding what it's like to go through this kind of physical trauma.
Yeah. So then she wakes up.
So when she wakes up and the climax of the film happens, then I sort of had the realization that, or the feeling that you did, where it was like, this is one of the most profound things that I've seen captured on screen. So we can talk about it now.
Yeah. The moment that she wakes up, first of all, it's a small moment, but I have to call it out because it broke my fucking heart, because this traumatic thing has happened. She has this fall and she wakes up and her eyes focus for the first time. And the first thing she sees is this tray by her bedside table full of needles and surgical implements that look so cold and scary and sinister. And it's like that moment, oh my God. Because it's like, it shattered my heart to think of this kid going through this and waking up and the first thing she sees being like this tray of like cold, sterile implements. It's such a small moment, but it really profoundly affected me. And then she turns to the other side and sees Roy there. And she says, I fell again. And I am crying for the second time. Because I was just like, fuck, dude. Yeah, just the way she says it and the way he reacts. Lee Pace is so good in this scene. Trying to balance his kind of despair and desperation with like the tremendous love he has for this girl and the guilt that he is feeling for what happened to her. Right?
Yeah. I love when she asks if people are mad. And he's like, nope, but they're mad at me.
Yeah, they're not mad at you.
Yeah. He's been hitting the sauce.
Oh, yeah.
He's not doing well.
Yeah, he's not doing the morphine anymore. Instead, he has his friend bottle of whiskey. But he's by her bedside because he feels responsible. Rightly so. He is responsible. Right? And she's like, I want you to tell me the rest of the story. And he's like, no, like somebody else should tell you the story. And he levels with her here and is like, the story was just a way for me to get you to do something for me. Like and she's like, I still want to hear it, And so we go back into the fantasy here, and there's sort of this drawn out finale to the fantasy story, which, like I said before, is kind of them fighting over how it gets to end, and is her demanding hope and him being resistant to feel it. You know?
And he keeps killing off the characters,
right,
and killing them off in dramatic ways. And there's one point in here where he says, I think in character as the bandit, as like, there's no happy ending for me.
Yeah,
which that really stuck with me.
Yeah, the first one to go is the monkey.
We kill Wallace, and that's fucked up, man.
Wallace the monkey gets shot. I love that this monkey gets like a full-on like Saving Private Ryan earned this ass death scene. Like this monkey gets like a real send off.
Well, and this is my favorite location in the movie, I think, which is the stepwell in India. It has a name. I don't recall it now. Darwin goes to cradle him as he lands on the edge of this overlook of these just dozens of steps, all interlocking and intertwining with each other, leading down to this well at the bottom, this pool of water. And it is so in a movie full of visually striking images, it is one of the most memorable.
I agree.
And then Charles Darwin stands up and fucking takes this firing squad like a man. And I love the there's one shot where the well is empty, and then we cut, and then it is full of dozens of these guards. They have just sprung up out of nowhere.
Right, yeah. They just spawned.
It's so fucking cool.
It rules. It rules.
But then he gets fucking blown away by the guards.
Yeah, so Darwin dies. And then like the next one to go is
Luigi
right. So okay.
Suicide bombs.
So I called out the rule of three thing with the bombs earlier. We skipped one, which is like at the carriage, he like throws another like dynamite bomb to blow up the carriage, and then like the princess comes out, like Nurse Evelyn comes out, and we realize Count Odious isn't in the carriage, so he has to put that one out too. So we're 2 for 2 on him like lighting a bomb, but then it not going off. And so like I am waiting. I'm like, okay, if this movie knows what I want, the third time he lights a bomb, it will go off. And so like Luigi is like, hey, like he gets shot in the foot by one of the guards, and he tells everybody else to run, and he's like, I'll hold him off or whatever, and he runs into this building, and all the guards follow him, and he like locks all the doors, and then he opens his fucking dope ass big yellow duster, and it is just lined with TNT that is like lit, like all these fuses are burning down, and he just goes kaboom, and then we have like maybe one of my favorite explosions in movies.
They just blow up this building, and I'm like, what Indian temple did they go to where they're like, yeah, you guys can shoot here. You guys need to blow. Oh, we're not using that one. Blow up that building.
Yeah, the property insurance on that one over there, kind of more than it's worth. So go ham. This explosion rips.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This was the moment that High Priestess Pod texted me from the other room, being like, "Wow, you're really enjoying that movie, huh?" Because I was screaming on the couch when Luigi blew up this building with all these dudes in it. Excellent moment of this movie. Literally before this happened, I kept audibly going, come on movie, and then when he like opens the jacket and all the bombs are there, I was like, fuck yes.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck yes.
Atta shields Alexandria from a volley of arrows, while they're also like the guards are also attacking the Mystic, and they grab the Mystic.
Yeah.
Her pleading for Roy to not kill the Mystic, who has not really been a character so far. He's just the guy covered in mud who makes weird noises sometimes.
Right, yeah, he's the guy with all the tattoos on his body. That's a map. Yeah.
That really got to me both times that I watched it.
Yeah, when she's pleading. Like, why are they killing the Mystic?
Yeah.
And they like rip his hair off. He's got this wig that's a bunch of dreads, and they rip that off, and they're like making fun of him. And then they get him up against this tree, and they start like slashing him in the back with like their axes. And every time they hit him, birds are coming out of his mouth.
That's visually one of the craziest things
it's so
I've ever seen. It's like it's beautiful and also dark and violent in a way that I have seen this movie before. I didn't expect the movie to go like this. He looks so hurt and painful.
Also, his teeth have fallen out.
Yeah.
He when he first gets hit, his teeth fly out their dentures, like the old man, right? And then like his teeth get stepped on. And so when the birds are coming out of his mouth, his mouth has no teeth. Which just makes it like even more like it's such an arresting visual. Yeah.
And then Atta gets hit with so many arrows he falls backward and is supported by the arrows, so he's like resting on a bed of arrows as he dies.
Yeah.
And then during this whole sequence, Roy is drunk and being more aggressive and just like telling her like, nope, sorry, he's gotta die, he dies.
Yeah.
This is the way the story has to go. She's pleading with him. There's a point where she's like, I will get you more pills so you can sleep. That really, really hurt on that second watch.
Yeah. And like so the only ones who are left is like the Indian and the bandit and the bandit's daughter, right? And they're like climbing up the rope. And there's the moment where like the Indian cuts the rope because the guards are following them up the rope, and he falls with the guards.
Yeah, dude, that shot of like 5 people on this rope,
Just
like 5
falling?
stunt dudes on this rope just falling.
Yeah.
That's rad as fuck.
Yeah, and there's the moment where like they both see the fall happen, and they're both like so affected by it. And then so then it goes into the showdown with Count Odious, right? So the bandit and his daughter show up at Count Odious's like pavilion or whatever.
Yeah.
And initially it's like a hopeful moment, but then like Roy is like letting kind of the darkness take over, and then he's like, yeah, like Count Odious just like beats him, right? And Odious starts like drowning him in the pool, and Alexandria is like telling Roy in real life hard truths to try and like get him to accept his situation, right? Where like as this is happening, she's like, I saw your girlfriend come to the hospital. She stayed in the car. She didn't even come out to come visit you, right? And like Roy is like, no, shut up. Like, and that moment feels like him retreating into the fantasy because what she is presenting him with is too painful. And so it's like an inverse of the moment from before.
Yeah.
In a way that I really, really like.
Yeah, and because Odious is played by the
guy who stole
actor
his girlfriend.
who stole his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And it is like now I think they swap out the actress playing the princess a few times back and forth between the actress playing Nurse Evelyn and the actress playing his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
So it's him like trying to like you said, it's kind of shifting perspectives, and it's becoming a little bit of his story now.
Right.
In a way where he's now trying to come to grips and get closure with this breakup that happened.
Yeah. And the moment where so like Odious is like drowning the bandit, and Alexandria is pleading with him and is like, let him live, he has to live, right? And he's like, no, like he dies, he just gives up, right? And she is like, no, like he has to live for his daughter, right?
Yeah.
And he says she's not even his daughter, right? Like she's not even really his. And she says, but she loves him, right? And it's like it's a moment where you realize that Alexandria is able to delineate between the fantasy and the reality and identify where the two overlap, right? It's like it's a moment where she, as an audience member, is like, I'm talking to you, the guy telling the story now.
Well, and then she does say, I love you to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gives in as a reaction to seeing that from her, like that she needs him to live because she loves him, right? And she says she says, like, you have to let him live. And she says, you have to promise. And he says, I promise. and she says, "Let me see your hands," because there's the thing with the crossed fingers earlier.
Yeah.
And it's so that she can see that he's not crossing his fingers, and he shows her his hands and says, "See." And then right when he says that, we cut back to the fantasy, and the bandit starts breathing again underwater and like stands up in the pool, and I'm crying for the third time.
Okay.
Cause like the moment where she's like, "Show me your hands," and he says, "See," and you can see that the promise is genuine and that he's gonna keep living for her because she needs him, was like so powerful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes into a fight with Odious, and she's like, "I don't care about fucking
You're right.
Odious anymore." Like,
He needs to be with his daughter.
Yeah.
Which I love. He punches Odious once, and she's like, he needs to go to his daughter. And he's like, okay.
yeah, she's like, "I don't fucking care about that anymore."
Yeah.
And then Odious dies really funny way
I
where
love this.
he backs into a sword that's on the deck of the pool,
And then he's
that just
floating-
falls over.
And then he's floating in the pool with this sword sticking out of him, and he just goes, "I don't feel so well."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the great moment where like she gives him closure on his part of the story, right? Where like the princess comes up to the bandit and is like, "This was all a test to see how much you really love me." And she's like, "Now that Odious is gone, we're free to follow our hearts." And he has the heart locket, and he chucks it like off this cliff over the city, and is like, "Feel free to follow your heart, like jump after it."
Well, one thing we didn't mention is that one of the things that spurred Tarsem to make this is he went through a breakup
Yeah.
and then was like, "Okay, now or never. All this money I've made, I got to find something to do with it, so I'm going to put it into this movie."
Right. Big divorced dad movie.
Yeah, you can't make this movie while in a relationship. That's
Right. So the fantasy story ends, right? The bandit has survived. Count Odious has been defeated, right? And Governor Odious. We just keep giving him all kinds of titles.
yeah.
And
Major Odious, King Odious.
Yeah. And then so like the end of the movie is he decides to keep living, and we see them in the hospital sometime later watching the movie that Roy got hurt doing the stunt for.
Yeah.
They're screening the film for the patients. And a thing that I love is that his stunt was cut out of the movie. Like we get to the part where the stunt where he like jumped on the horse falling from the bridge, and the stunt that probably paralyzed him for life, right?
Yeah.
And we get like this like really tense moment where you can like hear his heartbeat. There's a dog on his lap that like starts whining. It gets really tense because he's about to like watch this event that traumatized him, and then they just like cut it out of the picture and it's not even there.
Yeah.
And he sort of seems relieved and even amused, right? Where he's like, "Oh yeah, like no one will ever even see that cool shit that I did."
Yeah.
You know?
It's one of the only moments where the perspective of the film kind of shifts to Roy more so than Alexandria, and we get some sense of interiority on him. And I love it. I love the way the sound cuts out, and we just get a little bit of the heartbeat. We also see it's a Western that he made, and so we get to see some of those story elements that were brought into the fantasy.
Yeah.
There's a map that they have, and the Indian is a Native American Indian as opposed to a Southeast Asian Indian. I love when the guy, the one-legged man, the man missing the leg, laughs at his own stunt where he gets shot with the arrow in his fake leg, and he's just watching it like never gets old.
And then right before the credits, there's some Alexandria voiceover, and she plants the old man's teeth in an orange rind in the orange orchard and is like, "I hope a special orange tree grows." And then she starts talking about how after she left the hospital, her mom told her that Roy was a guy who did stunts in movies, right? And he like, when someone has to fall or get hit, that was him.
Yeah.
And then she watches more movies, and anytime she sees a stunt, she's like, "That's my friend Roy," right? And we get this amazing montage of classic, like, very beginnings of Hollywood stunt work.
Yeah.
And
lots of Buster Keaton
and
stuff.
Yeah, Buster Keaton stuff. You get crazy shit where it's like guys on a ladder on a moving vehicle, trains smashing into each other, guys falling off of the roofs of buildings. It really hammers home that, like, as much as this movie is operating on other thematic levels, it's also just kind of like a love letter to stuntmen. And that's sort of the note that we end on. And I really loved that. I really loved that, like, the kind of coda to this movie is just like, yeah, this is just like an unapologetic love letter to some of the most unsung heroes of what makes movies so incredible, you know, which are like the guys who like destroy their bodies so that we can be like, wow, holy shit, what a cool thing.
Yeah. I wasn't sure how to take it the first time. I think the second time around it was more appreciation of that and appreciation of just like this film was a love letter to cinema. But a film about storytelling and the way that the stories impact us and how, you know, to her, Roy is her hero. And in her mind, she gets to see her hero up on screen doing these amazing things that she's imagined him to do. And it's a really powerful, beautiful, poignant ending. There's a monkey at one point. She's like, "Oh, look, there's Wallace."
Yeah, that's Wallace. Yeah, right. Yeah, and then she just ends basically being like, "Thank you very much."
Yeah, I really loved that final line the second time around in the movie.
Yeah, because she's talking about like how he is like blowing kisses to the camera in one of the stunts, right?
Yeah,
and she's like, "Thank you very much," and then it's just like the credits, and it is sort of like Tarsem thanking you for watching the movie. Yeah, that's the fall.
That's the fall. I'll ask you, because
Okay.
it's your first time with this thing. Justice is the fall the greatest movie ever made?
David, I didn't really know what to expect going into this one, as we said. I mean, I did sort of allude to the fact that I had like seen some online hype about this movie, but I think I had sort of disconnected the hype from the title, because as I was watching the movie, I was like, oh yeah, I remember people talking up this shot that I am currently seeing. But I didn't really have expectations going into this movie. It is, as promised, visually stunning. The costumes are incredible. The colors in this movie, the cinematography is amazing. And also, I found myself watching this movie wondering if it was going to be a case of style over substance for parts of it. Because I was like, wow, this is so visually arresting. Does this have the juice to back up all of the spectacle?
Which is a thing that he has been accused of, along with his contemporaries, Bay
Zack
and Snyder.
and Michael Bay, right.
Yeah.
And in this case, I would say this is not, for me, a case of style over substance. I think that the performances from Lee Pace and the girl who plays Alexandria are strong enough to kind of anchor this thing and give it the emotional core that it needs to earn its extravagant visuals. And I have never seen anything like this movie, and I feel blessed that I have now experienced it. And The Fall is the greatest movie ever made.
Well, I'm glad that I blessed you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I thought about watching it twice for this record, but I didn't get around to a second viewing. But you did. So David, is The Fall the greatest movie ever made?
Yeah, so this is a tale of two very different viewings within 24 hours of each other. Because, like I said, that first viewing was late at night. I was not ready, for whatever reason, to sit down and watch this movie and engage with it. Like, it's a fun watch, but it is not necessarily a light one.
Right.
I think this is a film that demands your attention and demands careful viewing. It's dealing with very unsubtle, broad, yet personal and universal themes, but it demands your patience and your engagement with it.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I wasn't able to do that last night, even though I'd seen it before. Watching it the second time, like, not exactly like night and day, but whatever weird emotional state I was in, whatever wall I had up, just came down.
Hell yeah.
And like everything that you said, this thing is visually incredible. It made my crappy used Best Buy TV feel like an IMAX screen.
Hell yeah, dude.
If there's any movie that should be playing in every IMAX cinema from now until the end of time,
it's
one. The Fall.
That's right.
The scale and scope of this thing is just staggering and mind-boggling how they did some of this stuff. But the personal and human story at the center of it is also incredibly moving, beautifully acted, especially by Lee Pace, but also by this young actress who is acting completely naturally.
Yes.
Catinca did an amazing job with this role. And I think that performance was beautifully honed by the work of Lee Pace and Tarsem as the director. And this is just like one of the best kid performances ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found this thing moving and stirring and reminding me of all of the reasons why I love cinema and storytelling. And I, of course, love movies that deal with storytelling and deal with myth. I don't think this film is style over substance. I think film is an audio-visual medium, and my dudes, the style literally is the substance.
That's right, motherfucker.
So I guess, yeah, this is the greatest movie ever made. What a fucking, holy shit, what a fucking ride this thing is, and I'm glad I spun it again.
Hell yeah, dog.
I needed to.
Hell yeah.
What are we watching next week?
Next week, David, it's funny because you don't know what I've picked yet. It's funny that we have mentioned Michael Bay multiple times in this episode because Michael Bay...
There's a few different ways this could go.
...is about to make his first appearance on the Greatest Movie Ever Made podcast with a movie that I have not seen but have intended to see for a while, which is, of course, Pain and Gain.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
One I've not seen either.
A movie that I've heard is good. And also a movie that prominently features The Rock, who's having a big moment right now in The Smashing Machine. So
we got Wahlberg coming back.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Probably going to be talking about steroids a lot.
Yeah, and his various hate crimes as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the fictional steroid use in the Pain and Gain,
right?
And the actual hate crimes.
I'm pretty sure
Mark
actual
Wahlberg
steroid use is
it's
also
inspired
happening
by
with Wahlberg.
It's inspired by a real story, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll hopefully learn a little bit more about it next week.
Okay, join us next week for
Michael Bay's Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain by Michael Bay, apparently. Wow.
Yeah.
In the meantime, please tell your friends about the show and spread the word. Like us on Instagram and TikTok. Leave us a comment. Let us know if there's a movie that you'd like us to review by sending us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com.
That's right.
Be kind to one another.
Yes. Don't ask a 5-year-old to get pills for you to kill yourself.
Definitely don't.
Don't do that.
Don't ask a 5-year-old to steal morphine for you. Holy shit.
Yeah. Don't kill yourself. You're so sexy. Haha. That's what I would say to Lee Pace in this movie.
Yeah. He's quite sexy in this movie.
Yeah.
See you guys next week for Pain and Gain. As always.
Later dipshits. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Greatest Movie Ever Made. Please remember to leave us a rating and a review, and to subscribe to the show wherever you listen. We appreciate you supporting the show and spreading the word. Tell your friends to listen, tell your enemies to listen, tell your mom to listen. If your neighbor has an unsecured Bluetooth speaker, connect to it and play an episode. You can follow us on social media at TGMEM_podcast. And if you've got a movie that you want us to talk about, send us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com.